What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9 Ma, Chapter 157. Aokiji, have seen through everything. Open black lens bracket 5/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Then, it was early in the morning. The turmoil caused by the 7-year-old ensign has not yet subsided. Garp came forward directly and gave a unified response to everyone. My grandson, Layfon, will take over all doubts and doubts. Anyone who doubts the decision of the 7-year-old ensign can challenge the old man's grandson Layfon 3 days later. Vice Admiral and below are casual, this old man will never. Only enough strength is the fundamental measure of whether the old man's grandson can be a Marine ensign. Therefore, anyone below Vice Admiral, including Rear Admiral, can initiate a challenge. As long as there is one person who can successfully defeat Layfon, I will immediately revoke Layfon's 7-year-old Marine ensign title and solemnly apologize to all Marines. It is my own inconsideration. The moment Garp's words spread to the entire Marineford. Marineford, once again ushered in a huge shock. Big hit. Hundreds of thousands of official Marines were deeply shocked by Garp's remarks. At first, people who were dissatisfied and angry with Garp and Sengoku's resolution followed Garp's remarks one after another, feeling deep horror in their hearts. Vice Admiral and below, anyone can challenge. Real or fake? The grandson of Vice Admiral Garp, is he only 7 years old? Can he really accept the challenge of everyone below Vice Admiral? This is a bit exaggerated. 7 years old, are you going to single out all the Marines below our Marineford Vice Admiral? My god, Vice Admiral Garp's remarks are too confident. Everyone is boiling. They obviously didn't expect that the high-level personnel would make such a haki response. It's not to take back their fate, but to let dissatisfied people like them have the opportunity to actively vent their inner dissatisfaction and anger. Let each of them have the right to question this matter, and can challenge the 7-year-old naval headquarters ensign they questioned. As long as he defeated the opponent, the 7-year-old ensign would naturally lose his official title and status. Isn't that what they wanted to see? They were dissatisfied. A 7-year-old child took the role of Marine ensign because he doubted the strength of the 7-year-old ensign. Now, the opportunity has come. Opportunities lie in front of all of them. Anyone has the right to question and challenge. In 3 days, can we officially launch the challenge? Vice Admiral Garp is so confident in his grandson. His grandson is only 7 years old, can he really withstand the challenge of Vice Admiral? Even, including Rear Admiral, can initiate a challenge. Isn't Vice Admiral Garp, his 7-year-old grandson, able to compete against a strong person at the Rear Admiral level? It's impossible. Vice Admiral Garp, do you want to ruin your grandson's reputation? Word began to spread, spreading to every corner of Marineford. From the beginning of the waves, with Garp's remarks, the waves were intensified again, and the influence became more and more extensive. Nowadays, most Vice Admirals have begun to pay close attention to the trends of things. They also obviously expressed deep amazement and bewilderment at Garp's response. No one thinks Layfon, who is 7 years old, can have the level of strength of Rear Admiral. Vice Admiral and below can be used casually. There is no limit to Rear Admiral's level of powerhouses, Rear Admiral can also challenge. So here comes the problem. Is 7-year-old Layfon stronger? Are Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral stronger? This is self-evident. The dignified Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral is not as good as a 7-year-old child. What a joke. Doesn't that mean a 7-year-old child with the level of strength of Rear Admiral? Of course it's impossible. No one can accept this unbelievable and terrible thing. Although I don't know what Vice Admiral Garp is planning. But this challenge will definitely make Vice Admiral Garp's grandson suffer an unprecedented blow. If the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp has really reached the level of Marine Rear Admiral, why is he just plotting to be a Marine ensign? This is obviously not normal. Not to mention, a 7-year-old Marine Rear Admiral level powerhouse. Is this a dream? Even if he is the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp, with Vice Admiral Garp's blood flowing through him, and no matter how terrifying his talent is, it is absolutely impossible for him to master such a terrifying level of strength at this age. Isn't that 7-year-old Marine Rear Admiral? Do you know what that means? Anyway, I don't dare to think about it. If it's true, I'll put all the things I pulled this week back on the spot. I would rather believe that the sun will rise from the west than believe that a 7-year-old kid has reached the Rear Admiral power level. All in one color. In such a huge Marineford, no one believed that such a terrible example really existed. 7-year-old Marine Rear Admiral. Big joke. No one could have imagined such a terrifying concept. Vice Admiral Garp, what are you thinking? A group of veteran Vice Admiral and Marine were also full of confusion. Advertisement. Could it be that you really want to engage in this so-called challenge? Let a 7-year-old kid face the challenge of everyone below the entire Marineford Vice Admiral. How high is this difficulty factor? How stressful will this be? How difficult is this? All of these are completely predictable. Is it really appropriate for a 7-year-old child to face these things? Many people thought strangely. They couldn't see through what was going on in Garp's mind. No matter how terrifying a talent is, it still takes a certain amount of time to hone and improve, right? How strong can a 7-year-old child be? Allow anyone below Vice Admiral to challenge at will. Rear Admiral, Commodore, Colonel, which one of these strong men can't easily crush this 7-year-old child? Does Vice Admiral Garp mean to say Is my 7-year-old grandson Layfon stronger than the colonel? Or rather, strength over Commodore, even beyond Rear Admiral? How can that be? This is completely beyond the scope of common sense. Even a group of veteran vice admirals who have a deep understanding of Garp's personality would not believe that a 7-year-old child can be as strong as Rear Admiral. This is so shockingly mundane. In the past, there has never been a similar example. 7-year-old Rear Admiral. What is this concept? This concept seriously exceeded everyone's expectations. They have never seen such a terrifying genius monster in their life. They also don't think that such terrible examples really exist in this sea. Not even the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp. No matter how talented a genius is, he is not so exaggerated and outrageous. Vice Admiral Garp, this time is too big. However, if it didn't have a certain amount of confidence, why did Vice Admiral Garp arrange this challenge? It's really hard to understand. But you have to let me accept that a 7-year-old brat can really be as strong as the Rear Admiral. I have always been skeptical. Does this count as, single-handedly, all the Marines below Vice Admiral in Malindo? Really, this can already be called, single-handedly challenge everyone below Marineford Vice Admiral. Still a 7-year-old. A 7-year-old boy singled out all Marines below Vice Admiral in Marineford. In other words, it is equivalent to, alone, single-handedly take on half of Marineford. This naturally made everyone excited. No one has ever dared to make such thunderous remarks. And today, this example was born, still from Garp's mouth. Although it was just a substitute, everyone believed that Garp's words must also represent the opinion of his 7-year-old grandson. Nothing like this has ever happened to Marineford. With Garp's words spread, all the streets and alleys of Marineford have launched various speeches and heated discussions on this. For a while, the disturbance in Marineford has intensified, and more people are paying close attention to it. Unprecedented noise and excitement. A dull Marineford, with countless seasonings added. In recent years, Marineford, it has been a long time since such a lively atmosphere has been set off. The challenge 3 days later. Presumably it must be, attracting everyone's attention. A group of Marines who were deeply suspicious of the 7-year-old ensign also suppressed their inner dissatisfaction and anger, and turned to look forward to incurious. Asking for flowers. They are all looking forward to the huge wave that is about to erupt 3 days later. Advertisement. 7-year-old, alone against everyone below Marineford Vice Admiral. Among them, including Rear Admiral, General and other level blessings. All of this happened unexpectedly. No one could have predicted that both Rear Admiral and Commodore were involved in this matter. At the same time, after Garp's words came out, after evolution and spread, even the 3 admirals had a bit of curiosity and anticipation. Among the 3 headquarters admirals, Aokiji is naturally the one who pays the most attention to the development of things. Aokiji, who had been in contact with Layfon, heard the latest news. First timing. What Aokiji felt was not suspicion and questioning. Emotions are different from what everyone feels. What Aokiji feels is thriller. Look, let's see. I said so. Both grandpa and grandson are not good things. Their fox tails are finally exposed. I guessed right. These young people now have one set of tricks after another, and it is almost impossible to guard against. If you are not careful, you will fall into the trap of this grandpa and grandson. Obviously, this time, Vice Admiral Garp dared to announce the challenge so blatantly. I'm basically sure that Layfon's strength must have reached the level of Rear Admiral. If not, I can't think of a second possibility. No matter what, the grandpa and grandson are already invincible. Aokiji's eyes revealed a wave everywhere, as if he could see through all the emotional fluctuations. Aokiji, have already seen through everything. This little conspiracy, in front of me, all will be unable to hide, revealing the real body. Only the idiots in Marineford would be fooled by the appearance of this matter from Vice Admiral Garp. And I just, who I am, my headquarter admiral. Can I see something hidden in this thing? Joke. Can such a small routine be hidden from my eyes? Non-existent. Layfon, I remember that when he first arrived in Marineford yesterday, he only reached the level of Commodore's strength. But it's only been less than a day, and has he officially stepped into the strength class of Rear Admiral? Is it true? It feels a bit unbelievable. The terrifying speed of this strength growth is too exaggerated. I have to say, this is really a terrible monster. The point is, this kid is only 7 years old. You are only 7 years old, have you reached this realm and strength? Aokiji couldn't help being moved. But, by comparison, what makes him even more creepy is, this grandpa and grandson are now setting a huge trap for everyone in Marineford. Unknowingly, almost 90% of the people in Marineford have almost already entered the set. And most people don't realize it at all. All of them didn't even know that they had already entered the set. Aokiji panicked a little. The grandpa and grandson really have a big plan. Unknowingly. Done. In the future, when dealing with this grandpa and grandson, you must be more careful. Otherwise, if you are not careful, I may be sold by this grandpa and grandson, and I am busy counting money for them. It's really high. In less than half a day, 90% of the entire Marineford people were involved. He was worried that maybe even he himself didn't know, and he was very likely to be tricked into it by the grandpa and grandson. Obediently, I am ashamed of myself. Let the grandpa and grandson finish their quarrel before returning to Marineford. I admire you. The grandpa and grandson's tricks are so pervasive. This is what makes Aokiji feel the scariest. So, suppressing the many messy thoughts in his mind, Aokiji couldn't help feeling admiration from the bottom of his heart for the current events and turmoil in Marineford. Do you want to be quiet and run out to hide for a while? Advertisement Chapter 158 One person singles out half of Marineford. Check in again. Open black lens bracket 6/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Things are getting worse. With the appearance of Garp, this small disturbance turned into a major disturbance sweeping Marineford. All kinds of speeches began to emerge endlessly. Regarding the challenge 3 days later, it also attracted the close attention of everyone in Marineford. Including a group of veteran Vice Admiral, such as Ghost Spider, Flying Squirrel, Huoshaoshan Vice Admiral and so on. Even Crane Vice Admiral, Garp's old comrade in arms, was somewhat curious and surprised by this. Rao, as the brain trustee of Marine, she can't see through it. What exactly does Garp want to dare? Let a 7-year-old grandson take on the challenge of half Marineford's Marine. Isn't this a joke? Still looking for abuse? How strong can a 7-year-old be? Anyway, he couldn't imagine that a 7-year-old child could meet the challenge of half Marineford. She also didn't think that the 7-year-old child could be the final winner in this challenge. Few thought Layfon would be up to the challenge. Vice Admiral is below. That means, not limited to Rear Admiral. In short, Rear Admiral, you can also launch a challenge. Just ask. How does a 7-year-old meet the challenge of Rear Admiral? Rear Admiral, this can already be regarded as a mid to high level powerhouse in Marine. Who'd have guessed that a 7-year-old could take on Marine Rear Admiral? If Rear Admiral can't even do anything to a 7-year-old, how can it be called the middle and high level of Marine? This is a smear of Marine's image. Shame. 10 out of 10 people can be sure. In front of Rear Admiral, this 7-year-old child is afraid that he will be killed by 827 in seconds. Garp is as impulsive as ever, and does things without thinking. Crane couldn't help shaking his head, feeling helpless and sighing. This is a pain for the child. A 7-year-old child needs to face such a severe challenge. What a poor kid. It's really hard for Garp, who has such a brainless grandpa. But then again, Garp, when did you have a 7-year-old grandson? In this regard, he deeply doubts. At the same time, in various areas of Marineford, hundreds of thousands of official Marines are all involved in the current hot topic. I am deeply looking forward to this challenge after the main actor Shen goes. Speak. Don't you think? These words of Vice Admiral Garp seem to let his 7-year-old grandson fight against half of our Marineford by himself. When you say that, it seems to be true. Below Vice Admiral, doesn't it represent half of Marineford? And Vice Admiral Garp actually let his 7-year-old grandson try to challenge our half of Marineford, isn't he too confident? 7-year-old kid fighting half of Marineford. Now I am looking forward to it more and more. 3 days later, the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp will bring us a big surprise. For some reason, I suddenly feel that the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp may not be as weak as we imagined. Really, since Vice Admiral Garp has so solemnly announced a challenge, it is definitely not just a joke. Obviously, Vice Admiral Garp is very confident in his grandson. But trying to convince me that a 7-year-old can take on the Marine Rear Admiral challenge. That's not realistic at all. No one can imagine a 7-year-old child can possess the strength level of Rear Admiral. Also, most people don't even think that 7-year-old Layfon can control the Commodore, or even the level of strength of the Colonel. However, Vice Admiral Garp only limits people below Vice Admiral. What does this mean? In my opinion, 7-year-old kid, his hair hasn't even grown. Not to mention Rear Admiral's level of strength, even the Colonel's and even the Major's level of strength, I will be deeply suspicious. The moment those words spread, a small number of strange voices with different opinions suddenly sounded from Marineford. These voices become a little green among thousands of flowers. Among the voices, almost all, were that Layfon was not qualified for the role of Marine Ensign. The voices of this small group of different opinions are particularly harsh. You know a hammer. Have you ever met Mr. Layfon? How dare you make such an abrupt judgment? Mr. Layfon doesn't even have the strength of Colonel Marine. That's right, you guys know a lot, and you dare to shout here if you don't understand anything. Mr. Layfon, you have already defeated Colonel Pocato a few days ago. Those who say that Mr. Layfon does not have the strength of a colonel, you can choose to shut up immediately. People who don't know the truth always think that what they think is the ultimate truth. But in fact, they are just a frog in a well. What's wrong with being 7 years old? Can't you be powerful at the age of 7? We witnessed with our own eyes that Mr. Layfon defeated Colonel Pocato at the age of 7. How do you explain this? This is partly for the folks who Layfon fights back. Nature. They're all from the Garp ship. Advertisement. Among these many counterattack voices, there are 2 people, Kebi and Berumeber. They can't stand it. People slander Layfon for nothing. For this reason, they gritted their teeth and stood up to fight for more face for Layfon. Who dares to say that Layfon is not as good as the Colonel? How was Colonel Pocato defeated? This scene was incomparably imprinted in the minds of thousands of Kebi and the others, who were spectators at that time, and they would never forget it in their lifetime. Ever since, thousands of voices began to cover every corner of Marineford. Compared with the doubts of hundreds of thousands of formal Marines, these thousands of voices seemed a bit weak, but they still aroused some repercussions. What? You say, Colonel Pakuto, was defeated by a little rascal. Are you kidding me? No, it must be Colonel Pakuto who released the water. Can you take it seriously? 100% release the water, otherwise how can a 7-year-old kid defeat the mighty Colonel Naval Headquarters? And he is the best colonel among the colonels, Colonel Pakuto. Doubtful voices swept across the quartet, just when Kebi and the others were about to fight back. Without warning, another group of voices supporting Layfon suddenly sounded. Who says 7 years old can't beat Colonel Naval Headquarters? I've seen it with my own eyes. Colonel Hina was instantly killed by a 7-year-old child. Can you imagine? It's an instant kill on the spot, not as simple as defeat. You guys are a bunch of frogs in a well. These voices come from the Marine Affairs Office. Toppa, the group of Marines who witnessed Hina being instantly killed by Layfon at that time. That scene still left a deep impression on them. Hina, the dignified Naval Headquarters colonel, was instantly killed on the spot. The psychological impact of this matter on them still cannot be appeased. At the same time, they are truly aware. What is a genius? What is a monster? Layfon, who instantly killed Colonel Marine Hina, is the only person in their hearts who perfectly fits all the characteristics of a genius and a monster. Colonel Hina will be killed by a 7-year-old kid. You guys are pure bullshit. It must be that Colonel Hina has softened his heart, or he was off guard. This kind of record, of course, can't be taken seriously. The colonel will be killed in seconds. Why don't you say that Admiral was instantly killed by this 7-year-old brat? Under these voices of doubt, thousands of Marine elites on the Garp warship all showed suspicious expressions. You may not believe it. Even those of us who witnessed it with our own eyes expressed deep horror at this incident. Some of you just now really hit the spot. In fact, Aokiji Admiral was killed by Mr. Layfon. One knife. Aokiji Admiral on the spot. If you don't believe me, you can ask Aokiji Admiral to confront him. The words fell. The whole Marineford seemed to have fallen silent and fell into an extremely weird atmosphere. The buzzing atmosphere, suddenly, without any prior warning, become dead silent. What the hell? What did they hear? Aokiji Admiral, was he really killed in one shot? How is this possible? Even if you lie, you have to make a draft. Is this really a mouthful? The majestic Admiral of Headquarters will be instantly killed by a mere 7-year-old child. What is the concept of Marine Admiral? Marine's facade photos. The top combat power of the sea. Is it such a terrifying existence that people will be blamed instantly? What a joke. Or was it a 7-year-old child who gave him a knife in seconds? Why not God? Even if it's bragging, you have to brag in a decent way, right? There is no need to think about such a lie at all, and it can be judged as false in the first place. Advertisement. Kill Aokiji Admiral in one shot. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to break the lies of these guys and tear their faces full of lies. So, Aokiji Admiral, we sincerely hope that you will take the initiative to stand up and wash away these news and remarks that insult your reputation. These guys are simply hateful. How dare you tarnish your reputation? It's so hateful. Aokiji Admiral, please stand up and punish these liars. Under the condemnation of many voices, the development of things has become more and more subtle. Something weird happened. Angry rhetoric in the face of these issues. Aokiji, however, did not respond to any of this. These angry remarks seemed to have disappeared into the sea, and it seemed that they had never reached Aokiji's ears at all, and they did not get any response from Aokiji at all. For a while, some smart people have figured it out. Things seem to be a little off. It's completely different from what they expected. The key is, Aokiji Admiral did not take the initiative to clarify. This makes things a bit weird. But make them believe that the dignified Admiral of Headquarters was instantly killed by a 7-year-old child. This kind of unbelievable, shocking worldly thing still makes them completely unimaginable. This is absolutely impossible. Even if the sky is falling, they can't make them accept this terrible thing. A 7-year-old child has great abilities. Can he kill Admiral in seconds? Dream. Bar. Do not. Even in dreams, there is no such exaggeration. Perhaps something is wrong. Some people think so. And the other side, just when Aokiji was about to try to find out the latest news about the development of this matter. Unprepared, a wave of dimensionality reduction strikes. In an instant, descended on Aokiji's body. It caused 1,000,000 tons of painful crit to his mind. Good guy. I'm riding a horse on the spot, good guy. It's none of my business if you're arguing for yours. Why did it come to me again? I am a majestic Admiral of Headquarters, can you save me some face? Do I not want face? Not to mention, I'm completely silent. I chose to be a melon-eating crowd lying quietly, and I will be whipped corpsed by you. Is there any reason for this? Okay, you are all a group of uncles. Anyway, I won't serve you anymore. You fight as much as you like, and if you pay attention to the trend of this matter, I'm a dog. Can't afford it, can't I still hide it? Aokiji, who suffered an unwarranted disaster, finally 3.2 had to choose to stay at home, locked himself in the room, and no longer paid attention to the trend of this matter. Last resort, I have to keep my eyes open. By the way, is the arrangement of Vice Admiral Garp really appropriate? Mr. Layfon's strength is not inferior to Marine Commodore. However, Vice Admiral Garp shouldn't let anyone below Vice Admiral challenge it. Wouldn't this make Marine Rear Admiral qualified to challenge Mr. Layfon? With Mr. Layfon's current strength, can he really deal with Marine Rear Admiral? This challenge is not limited to Marine Rear Admiral. Kebi and Berumeber felt a little worried. It formed a strong contrast with the hustle and bustle of the outside world sweeping Marineford. That is, he only knows one thing, that is. Layfon stood by the window, feeling the warmth brought by the sun. He is still in a state of ignorance of the rumors from the outside world. But the problem is, finally, it's time for the daily check-in again. During the uproar in Marineford, Layfon's strength is very strong, of course the two of them are well aware of this. Based on their understanding of Layfon's strength, it seems that Layfon does not have the strength level of Marine Rear Admiral. This moment, in a spacious house, there should be a lot of gaps, right? Vice Admiral Garp, I'm really too impulsive this time. Wisps of golden sunlight fell on the window sill, and the halo reflected on the floor tiles. The warmth quickly filled the air and flowed slowly. Marine Rear Admiral, can challenge Layfon. It's very quiet and peaceful here. Advertisement Chapter 159 Awakening of the Color of Knowledge and Knowledge. The strength has officially stepped into Rear Admiral. Open black lens bracket 1/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The golden sunlight, falling from the window sill, reflected on Layfon's body, making him feel the warmth and vitality that hit his face. Compared with the huge turmoil in Marineford outside, this place presents a completely opposite environment. Quiet, hard like Shisui. Being in this environment can always make people feel at ease. Now, Layfon's mood became agitated, and a look of anticipation appeared in his eyes. It's the most anticipated time of the day again. What kind of ability can you get by signing in this time? Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly. His mood was turbulent, causing ripples and waves to float. He doesn't know anything about the outside world. Compared with the current upcoming check-in time, any event, in Layfon's eyes, is far less important than the current check-in time. Only signing in is the foundation of your own strength. Of course, Layfon is well aware of this. The last time I signed in, not only did I get 20 comprehensive attribute points, but I also got 5 additional skill points, all of which I used to improve my swordsmanship level. This time, I don't know what kind of ability rewards I can get from signing in. Hope it's not too bad. Of course, the system has always been honest and never deceived me. No matter how bad it is, it won't give me too bad ability. With many thoughts, Layfon started the daily check-in session. System, check-in daily. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. The cumulative time of the detection system has reached 24 hours. Open black lens bracket you can sign in, please host to confirm again, do you want to sign in, close black lens bracket. As always, the sound of the system sounded very quickly. The melodious sound, lingering in Layfon's ears, is like the most beautiful musical note in the world, making him feel happy. Confirm check-in, without the slightest hesitation. Layfon is naturally familiar with these processes. There is no need to think about it, just move your mind, and you will go to the next link. Open black lens bracket sign in successfully, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket congratulations to host, you got the ability gift bag for signing in rewards, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket do you want to open the ability gift pack, close black lens bracket. Coming. Layfon's eyes sparkled brightly, it's the most critical moment, and the moment he's looking forward to the most. Whether you can develop abilities that are useful to you depends on this step. Although he had great confidence in the system, at this moment, Layfon couldn't help but feel a little bit of anticipation and nervousness. This time, what ability can be released? How much change will it bring to the improvement of its own strength? All this, Layfon does not know. It depends on what ability can be unlocked from the ability gift bag signed in this time. Open the gift bag, under Layfon's expectant gaze. The system's response came in a very timely manner, with almost no pause. Open black lens bracket ability gift pack is opening, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket enabled, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket congratulations to host, you got, observation haki, from the ability gift bag, close black lens bracket. The crisp voice lingered in Layfon's mind. Let his mind freeze. I was a little stunned. Immediately, ecstasy quickly swept across Layfon's heart and filled his whole body and mind. Knowledge color. Layfon opened his mouth, his expression full of excitement. Previously, he never expected that he would get the ability that he had been dreaming of these days. Observation haki. That is, the last kind of haki. Advertisement. Before Layfon was pregnant with conquerors and armed colors, but lacked the last armed color, even if he had collected third gate haki. But the lack of knowledge has always made Layfon feel that his own strength has never been able to truly cross the threshold of Marine Rear Admiral's strength. The basic strength threshold of Marine Rear Admiral is naturally to know how to use knowledge color and armed color. This is the threshold of the foundation. But Layfon has never mastered the color of knowledge. Let him always be stuck in the embarrassing level of strength above the strength of the Commodore and below the experience of the 4 generals. This is why Layfon is so eager to get observation haki. But still didn't expect it. Surprise, it came so unexpectedly. Let Layfon unexpected, caught off guard. I thought. No matter how lucky you are, it will take several days before you can gain knowledge and gather all the third gate haki in one body. But after all, man is not as good as God. Surprise hit the forehead directly. Just less than 2 days later, after getting armament haki, Layfon got the last knowledge color again. Get third gate haki, all in one. This is what Layfon has been looking forward to before, and it is also a short-term small goal that has been pursuing. Never thought about it. Today, this small goal has been achieved. Third gate haki, master it all. Small goal, successfully completed. The small goal I planned before was, within 10 days, master the two-color haki and let your own strength reach the level of Marine Rear Admiral's strength. But now, it only took a lot of 3 days. I have already successfully obtained the color of knowledge, and completely mastered all Conqueror's haki. I also let my own strength smoothly surpass the previously customized goal. Layfon was overwhelmed with emotion. Plans never keep up with changes. This big surprise really hit his head a little dizzy. The news came too suddenly. Layfon, who was not too defensive, was overwhelmed by the excitement brought about by this surprise. The expected 10 days. But actually, it only takes less than 3 days. Seeing and hearing the color will arrive as scheduled. This surprise really surprised Layfon. After preparing for 10 days, the time was suddenly shortened infinitely and turned into 3 days. Almost, shortening the time by 3 times, let Layfon get knowledge smoothly. I have to feel, fate is impermanent. When luck comes, you can't stop it. Awakening with knowledge, my strength will also usher in another huge leap and improvement. If I have mastered Conqueror's haki, what level of strength will I reach? Rear Admiral, or, don't wait for Layfon to think too much. That moment, a warm current appeared in the body out of thin air, and began to water the blood, meridians, bones and other places in his body, all of which were washed by this warm current. At the same time, in his mind, a large group of memories appeared out of thin air, pouring into his mind like a river, allowing him to absorb and digest them continuously. The stronger taste made Layfon close his eyes slightly comfortably, and feel it carefully. In a minute, Layfon opened his eyes, and all the changes in his body stopped abruptly. However, he can feel it very clearly. The body has indeed become stronger. The strengthening of the 5 senses. Similar to, the perception of danger has improved a lot. As this the effect that observation haki has on the body. Although it doesn't use knowledge, it still enhances the body's premonition of danger. Layfon thought to himself. This moment, officially announced. Advertisement. Layfon, fully awakened the last knowledge color. Carrying Conqueror's haki, armed color, knowledge color, Conquerors. It can be said, the ability of Layfon has almost surpassed 90% of the personnel in the first half of the Grand Line. Even looking at the new world, it can be said to be quite impressive. The mastery of the two-color haki has ushered in a huge sublimation of Layfon's strength. Just mastering the armed color is enough to increase Layfon's strength dozens of times. Not to mention, the awakening of the color of knowledge this time made him pregnant with third gate haki all at once. Preliminary conservative estimate, Layfon believes that its current strength should have at least doubled several times. Compared with the increase in strength brought by the armed color, the knowledge color is obviously not so exaggerated. The armed color is to enhance the defense and attack power. The color of knowledge and knowledge is to improve the 5 senses of the body, the perception and judgment of danger, and the prediction of the enemy's attack trajectory, so that the body can react in advance. The armed color can bring a very intuitive improvement to Layfon's strength. But the color of knowledge and knowledge will not. The main function of knowledge color can only be more fully reflected in the battle. It's not like armed color, you only need to use it once, and you can feel that your own strength has become stronger by dozens of times. With the awakening of observation haki, Layfon needs to go through an actual battle to make an accurate judgment on how many times it can increase its own strength. Before experiencing actual combat, it is naturally impossible to truly judge how much improvement and leap forward the knowledge and knowledge will bring to one's overall strength. Next, let me feel it. The magic of observation haki. Layfon had a thought. Everything, with ease, extremely proficient. It was as if he had practiced for several years. That kind of familiarity, the familiarity that blends into the bones of the body. Another example is that it seems to be deeply imprinted on the body. The innate proficiency makes Layfon feel no jerky and strangeness at all. Casting observation haki gives Layfon the feeling of waving his own arm, skillfully without any hindrance. This is the biggest advantage brought by the system. Let Layfon introduce knowledge and color out of thin air. Let Layfon start to practice knowledge color again. It takes a long time to really get started with recultivating knowledge and knowledge, even with a lot of knowledge 430 in your mind, this is unavoidable. But let Layfon get started instantly out of thin air, this is completely different. What the system gives is to let Layfon get started instantly. In short, it means that in an instant, Layfon has obtained the effects of the experience, techniques and other aspects accumulated in years of practice. At the same time, the moment Layfon uses observation haki, an invisible aura, with his body as the center, spreads rapidly in all directions, enveloping all objects and lives around him. This invisible aura rapidly spread across hundreds of meters, turning the area into a semicircular circle, completely enveloping it. Then, all the movements in the hundreds of meters area have been hard to escape Mom's insight. With his eyes closed, Layfon can very precisely control the movements of the latent micro-lives around him. Although faint, it is still hard to escape Layfon's perception. It seems that all of this is like an infinitely magnified picture, and it becomes extremely slow, presenting in Layfon's line of sight. So that he can capture it very clearly. What an amazing feeling. Is this the state after using observation haki? The premonition of the crisis is much stronger than before. It is like a beast-like intuition for danger. It can also be called a wild sixth sense. Layfon carefully felt the current miraculous state. His five senses have been magnified countless times. An invisible aura enveloped the area within hundreds of meters around him. Within the range covered by this aura, all the movements of life, even the slightest movement, can hardly escape his eyes and ears. No doubt, this is the main role of observation haki. After a while, opening his eyes, a smile appeared on Layfon's face, and his tone was full of admiration. Now, for me who has successfully awakened observation haki. In addition to the armament haki I have already mastered, as well as the level of proficient sword skills, there are also Marine 6 styles. Conqueror's haki in all the abilities. Quote, it allows me to make a preliminary conservative judgment. Currently my level of strength. It has been extremely smooth to step into the strength class of Marine Rear Admiral. Advertisement Chapter 160. A stinky man who can't afford to be early. Open black lens bracket 2/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Yes, the strength level of Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. This is the level of strength that Layfon has reached after awakening the color of knowledge. Can be judged with certainty. This is still the most conservative estimate, and it is estimated that Layfon's strength has reached Rear Admiral. If a careful comparison is made, perhaps, with so many terrifying abilities and practical combat skills, he can be among the best in the strength class of Rear Admiral. Rear Admiral. The small goal of 10 days was achieved by me in less than 3 days. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, and his mood became extraordinarily comfortable. Small goals. A small goal in his eyes is equivalent to a big goal in the eyes of others. In 10 days, from the strength of Marine Commodore to Marine Rear Admiral. If this is placed on ordinary people, at least to achieve this long-term goal, it will take at least several years to accumulate strength and experience. But in Layfon's eyes, this long-term goal is just a small goal. In the eyes of others, the long-term goal that takes years to complete is at best a small short-term goal in the eyes of Layfon. The difference is so intuitive and obvious. And Layfon's own speed of completing small goals is also far beyond his own imagination and expectation. Really did not expect. In 3 days, he achieved the Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral himself. Mastering the two-color haki means that I already have the threshold to step into the power class of Marine Rear Admiral. With my sword skills and Marine 6 styles, it shouldn't be too difficult to gain a firm foothold in the powerful class of Rear Admiral. The me now is basically equipped with the basic conditions to officially set foot in the crisis-ridden waters of the New World. With my current strength, even if I set foot in New World, I can still have the strength to barely protect myself, not the grassroots in New World. Layfon can confirm this with great accuracy. Mastered the two-color haki, and all of them are beginners, then Grandmaster Marine 6 styles, and good swordsmanship attainments. This overall combat power in all aspects prevents Layfon from becoming a rookie at the bottom of New World. If the old man knows, I've upgraded from Marine Commodore to Marine Rear Admiral in less than 3 days. The expression on his face will definitely be very colorful. Layfon couldn't help laughing. Who could have imagined this unbelievable rate of increase in strength? Even Layfon himself did not expect that the time it took him to complete this small short-term goal was 3 times shorter than his psychological expectation. Less than 3 days. Goal achieved. Observation haki. It's so timely. This surprise really made me not expect T. Layfon is still carefully feeling a subtle state of his current body. The perception of all the objects and life around him has reached an unprecedented excellent state, allowing him to have a very subtle insight into the every move of all the objects within a radius of hundreds of meters. No matter how subtle the movement is, it cannot escape his eyes and ears. This is the comprehensive diffusion of observation haki, which brought changes to his body. The 5 senses have been fully upgraded to ultimate. As if a wild 6th sense was born, the premonition of the crisis is very strong. If I put my current state in actual combat, how much will my overall strength be improved? How obvious will the increase be? Advertisement. Knowledge, always inferior to armament haki, has brought me the most intuitive and obvious improvement in strength. Knowledge, only in actual combat and confrontation with opponents, can it perfectly reflect its main role. Now that I have entered the state of observation haki, I have an extremely subtle insight into the movements of the surrounding objects. If this state is put into actual combat, it will definitely increase my overall strength by several times. Plus, the defense and power that armament haki gave me. My strength should be among the best in the Marine Rear Admiral, not the marginal grassroots who have just stepped into the Marine Rear Admiral. The awakening of two-color haki can increase a person's strength by dozens of times. And that's why Layfon thinks. Without the awakened two-color haki, it is not the reason to really enter the threshold of the Marine Rear Admiral power class. Two-color haki is very important to improve a person's overall strength. How strong is my strength? This can only be judged accurately after an actual battle. Layfon looked expectant. I'm really looking forward to it. I have just stepped into the strength class of Rear Admiral. If I can find a strong opponent to help me measure my strength level, it would be great. Pity. Colonel Pocato was hopeless. Layfon doesn't want to abuse each other anymore, it's pointless. In front of Layfon, Pocato basically has no second possibility except for being instantly killed. Layfon can instantly kill Pocato before awakening the color of knowledge. Now, with the awakening of knowledge, it will naturally be easier to kill Polkadot in seconds. If I want to find someone who can measure my current level of strength, I need to find a Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. As for the Commodore, it's not qualified anymore. The Commodore is in front of me, I'm afraid I will inevitably be killed in seconds. Only Rear Admiral is the target I need to find. Fortunately, this is Marineford. Although there aren't too many Rear Admiral level powerhouses, they are definitely not rare. If I want to look for them, I can still find one or two as opponents. In this case, then next, I can try to find an opponent of Rear Admiral, so that I can feel it more deeply. What level has my overall strength reached? Layfon had a little try in mind. Find a Rear Admiral as your opponent. It's good to let yourself judge accurately. What kind of class can one's own strength reach in the Rear Admiral? There are many strong Marine Rear Admiral level in Marineford. It's not that hard to find something like this. Layfon is well aware of this point. As the dignified naval headquarters, the sacred place in the minds of countless Marines, it is naturally strong like a cloud. No matter what level of powerhouse, naval headquarters Marineford has everything. As far as Marine seamen recruit, as strong as Admiral of Headquarters, you can find them in Marineford. System, bring up the properties panel. With a thought, Layfon checked his own attribute changes. Open black lens bracket host. Layfon close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power. 50 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket speed. 51 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical strength. 49 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skills. Swordsmanship LV12, Conqueror's Haki IV4, Armament Hakilv 1, Observation Hakilv 1, Marine 6 Styles 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skill point. 0 close black lens bracket. Really, advertisement. Not beyond Layfon's expectations. In the original skill box, there is an observation haki skill. It is the extra skill of observation haki that doubles Layfon's strength, allowing him to successfully enter the threshold of Marine Rear Admiral's strength class. The sunlight from the windowsill fell on Layfon. In the air, there is a stream of warmth flowing slowly. Boom boom boom. At this time, the door was very abrupt, and someone knocked on it. The melodious voice quickly lingered and spread to Layfon's ears. In the state of observation haki, Layfon's 5 senses have been upgraded to ultimate, and every move of all objects within a radius of several hundred meters cannot escape his eyes and ears. The door knocker, Layfon naturally cannot not know. Within the range covered by his knowledge, this person has already existed. Garp arranges to take care of Layfon's daily life, Khalifa, one of the original CP9 agents. Yes, Khalifa, who has always existed in this huge house, mainly acts as Layfon's housekeeper, responsible for the daily environment inside and outside the house and so on. It can be said that, like a babysitter, the dignified CP9's excellent agent has become Yongchong's nanny. I have to say, this thing is really funny. The change in identity contrast is so great, thanks to Khalifa's strong psychological quality, otherwise she might have completely collapsed when she just arrived in Marineford yesterday. But it is not. Khalifa quickly got into her role. As a housekeeper, she is very qualified and excellent. She doesn't need Zhao Layfon to come forward to order basic daily chores. Khalifa can do everything impeccably. This saves Layfon a lot of trouble, and he can calm down and think about other things. Layfon, who was initially a little impatient with Khalifa, realized the convenience of having a nanny similar to a housekeeper who could handle daily chores. He tasted the sweetness and began to change his attitude towards Khalifa. If Khalifa knew about Layfon's current thoughts, he might not be able to help being angry. Hey, man, a stinky man who can't afford to be early. Come in. Layfon calmed down a little, looked up at the door, and spoke calmly. Crunch. Immediately, the yin door was directly pushed open. Khalifa enters the room. She is wearing everyday simple clothes today, but she still can't hide her tall and graceful figure. Her long blonde hair hangs down her shawl, and her delicate face wears glasses. She looks gentle and elegant, dignified and elegant. What do you know? Layfon asked straight to the point. Khalifa has always been in the Three Treasures Hall for everything, and will not take the initiative to disturb her. Now that the other party has come, it is natural that there is something important to report. Marineford, something important happened today. It's all about you. Khalifa hesitated for a moment, her pink lips moved slightly, but she still chose to tell the truth. Advertisement Chapter 161 Basic Elements a Monster Should Possess. Open black lens bracket 3/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Major event. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, turned his gaze, and fixed on Khalifa's pretty and dignified face, with a look of surprise and curiosity. Big things that are closely related to you. Is the ensign promotion document already notified to Marineford? This makes Marineford aroused huge commotion. That was the only possibility Layfon could think of. Otherwise, he couldn't think of any major events that could be closely related to himself. It has not been 2 days since I came to Marineford, and the only thing that can cause huge turmoil in Marineford is the promotion announcement of my 7-year-old Marine ensign. So, hearing what Khalifa said, Layfon immediately thought of the most likely direction. Faced with Layfon's gaze, Khalifa always felt unnatural for some reason. Just like, it looks like it's been seen through. There is no way to hide any secrets. This made Khalifa bite her pink lips lightly, unnatural emotions flashed across her pretty face, she lowered her head, not daring to look at Layfon. I don't know why, since just now, when she was in this house, she felt as if she was being spied on all the time. This feeling made Khalifa's hair stand on end. Obviously there was no one here, but she still had the illusion that there was a pair of cold eyes watching her every move in the dark all the time. This drove Khalifa crazy. Especially, coming to Layfon, the feeling of being spied on is even stronger. Whatever, but it doesn't matter. Layfon sensed something strange about Khalifa. Of course he knew why Khalifa showed such an expression. Immediately, with a thought, observation haki, gradually all retracted back to Layfon's body. This moment, only then did Khalifa feel relieved, the feeling of being watched closely and almost all the secrets being seen through, gradually dissipated. She knows. This must be the reason for the Layfon in front of me. This monster. Terrible. 527 inches. Can you watch my every move through the wall? What kind of terror is this? Khalifa was terrified. Apart from Layfon, she couldn't think of another possibility. After tidying up her thoughts a bit, facing Layfon's inquiry, Khalifa spoke bluntly after a wave of preparation, truthfully telling all aspects of the matter. Today, Marshal Sengoku issued your ensign promotion announcement document, and ordered people to post it on the bulletin board, which is regarded as an official announcement to all Marines in the entire Marineford. Nature. This announcement document directly caused a huge disturbance. Countless voices full of doubts resounded inside and outside Marineford. Khalifa took a deep breath, his tone full of shock. Obviously, she was also deeply shocked by this announcement. 7-year-old Marine Ensign. Rao is Khalifa, I can't even imagine it. This example of breaking the rules is standing in front of her at this moment. This is the 7-year-old boy. A being who is only 7 years old, but whose strength is terrifying like a monster. Think again. Khalifa thought of Layfon's terrifying power, and then he was relieved about the 7-year-old ensign. With such a terrifying level of strength at the age of 7, why not become a Marine ensign? In the face of absolute strength, the so-called status and identity are purely icing on the cake. This, I can foresee. Layfon nodded incredulously. Of course, he thought that when his ensign promotion document was issued, this matter would cause a huge response from Marineford. These are all inevitable. After all, the 7-year-old ensign has indeed broken the rules and subverted the cognition of most Marines. However, this is only the beginning of things. Then, Khalifa spoke again. The beginning. Is there a follow-up? Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, surprised. Yes. Khalifa nodded solemnly, and then continued to state, as the matter started, it caused huge movement and repercussions in Marineford. Next. BEBD. Your grandfather, Vice Admiral Garp, took the initiative to announce to all Marines in Marineford. Speaking of which, Layfon suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. The old man took the initiative to come forward. Advertisement. It always feels wrong. The old man, with his lazy personality, will come forward to solve this troublesome matter for me. Not good, Layfon thought to himself, as predicted. As if to verify what he thought in his heart, Khalifa said again. Vice Admiral Garp will announce the entire Marineford, all Marines below Vice Admiral. 3 days later, a challenge will be held. It's equivalent to a ring challenge. All Marines below Vice Admiral, including Rear Admiral, Commodore, Colonel, etc., can challenge you. Once you are defeated by any of them, Vice Admiral Garp promises to take back your 7-year-old ensign status. The words fell. Layfon's eyelids fluttered wildly. Good guy. An old man is still an old man. This challenge came, and I was caught off guard, without any warning at all. Anyone below Marine Vice Admiral can challenge at will. Which includes Rear Admiral. Old man, you really think highly of me. May all Marines below Vice Admiral challenge me. Yesterday, when I first arrived in Marineford, I just reached the strength level of Marine Commodore. Fortunately, you accepted such a difficult challenge for me without saying a word. Layfon couldn't help complaining in his heart. Obviously. Garp, that's on purpose. The opponent knew very clearly that his strength was only at the level of Marine Commodore. However, he still took the initiative to accept the challenge of those powerhouses at the Rear Admiral level. Is this to make me lose? Or, old man, do you have such strong care for me? Do you think I can improve my own strength even further in 3 days? Layfon pondered. He believes that the possibility of the latter is very high. With Garp's personality, the reason why the 3-day period is set is that he must strive for these 3 days of strength growth time, so that he can grow and develop better. But I only fought for 3 days. Old man, you really have full confidence in me. Layfon couldn't help laughing and shook his head. If it wasn't for the sudden awakening of knowledge today, he would still be a little worried about the challenge from Rear Admiral. But now, not only did he not have any worries, but he felt high fighting spirit and full of expectations in his heart. He had already planned to find some Marine Rear Admirals as opponents to measure his current strength. Never thought about it. All of this, the old man Garp has already prepared for himself. For yourself, you just need to fight. For the rest, you don't need to worry about it yourself. I don't know why. I always feel that ever since my identity as Marine Ensign was implemented, I have an illusion that all of this seems to be developing according to the trend arranged by the old man. Emotion. From the moment the identity of Marine Ensign fell on my head. Did I fall into the trap of the old man? Layfon thought oddly. Not to mention, the possibility of this is very high. With Garp's character, Layfon could imagine. The other party will really make such a crazy behavior. Let me face it alone, is it equivalent to the challenge of half a Malindo Marine? Below Vice Admiral, including Rear Admiral, how many Marines in this class are there in Marineford? Many. Simply too much. Countless. That's about half of Marineford. Vice Admiral and its Marine above Vice Admiral are too few and too few. Altogether, there are less than 100 people. On the other hand, those below Vice Admiral, including Marine of Rear Admiral, are at least counted in units of 100,000. Does that mean, let me fight against half of Marineford on my own? This kind of thing can only be thought of by a crazy guy like you, old man. Layfon's expression showed some anticipation. Against half a Marineford. This kind of thing has never been seen before. And it fell on him. Such a grand event, of course, cannot be defeated by oneself. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. What I lost was not my face. Advertisement. Moreover, even Garp's face will be lost with Layfon's defeat. Old man, you have given me a huge problem and challenge. That is to say, in this challenge 3 days later, I can only win but not lose. Layfon's mind has opened up a lot. Can only win. Can't lose. Just what I want. Originally, I didn't intend to lose. Even Marine facing half of Marineford is no exception. Even, looking at the sea, I don't intend to lose. Do not. It's not that I don't intend to lose. 2. Won't lose. I'm really looking forward to it. Finally, I have the opportunity to see the level of strength of these Marine Rear Admirals in Marineford. It is just right to use them as a benchmark to measure what level my strength is in. Layfon felt a little excited. He has just awakened the color of knowledge, and he just wants to feel how powerful he can be if he has mastered Conqueror's haki, sword skills, and Marine 6 styles. How does it compare to the real Marine Rear Admiral? Are there gaps? How big is the difference? These can all be revealed in the challenge 3 days later. Seeing the smile on Layfon's face, Khalifa bit her pink lips lightly, full of doubts and confusion in her heart, and finally couldn't help but said, "Aren't you afraid?" To this, Layfon laughed out loud. Afraid? Why are you afraid? Isn't this something to look forward to? It's a rare opportunity to play against countless Marine Rear Admirals. Facing Layfon's answer, Khalifa was speechless for a while. In her mind, her opinion of Layfon changed again. This is a monster. A downright, unscrupulous horror monster. That's a challenge for the Marine of Naval Headquarters. But in Layfon's eyes, it can't arouse the other party's apprehension and tension, or anxiety and other negative emotions. Instead, Khalifa can only be caught from Layfon's face. Calm. Indifferent. Exclamation mark. Similar emotions were all expressed on Layfon's face. These emotions are completely different from what Khalifa expected. She thought so. When told of this earth-shattering event, Layfon's mentality must have collapsed. But she miscalculated after all. Layfon, who is only 7 years old, can be so calm. Alone, against half of Marineford. Can't you make this monster's emotions fluctuate and show violent ups and downs? This guy, is he really only 7 years old? His character, calmness is too exaggerated. Or, is he confident enough in his own strength to beat Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral? Khalifa was stunned by his many thoughts. 7 years old, comparable to Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. How can that be? It must be too outrageous. Anyway. No matter what, Khalifa couldn't believe such unbelievable and terrifying things. But putting aside these speculations, Khalifa never thought of it again. Why is Layfon still so calm in the face of this kind of thing? She can be sure. Layfon's indifference is definitely not pretending, but from the heart. I feel full of confidence in the current turmoil in Marineford. What was the reason that prompted the other party to behave so calmly? Can't figure it out. Even if Khalifa thought about it, she couldn't think of a reason. Ever since. Finally, Khalifa can only think in the final analysis. Perhaps, this is the basic element that a monster should possess. Advertisement Chapter 162 Admiral came to teach me swordsmanship personally. Open black lens bracket 4/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Call. Exhaling heavily, Khalifa suppressed all the thoughts in his head. Paused. She solemnly stated to Layfon again. Besides, there is another very important thing. I think it is equally important to you. What? Vice Admiral Garp has made a solemn statement. If you lose, it means that Vice Admiral Garp's decision-making and proposal were wrong. He will solemnly apologize publicly to all Marines in Marineford. Khalifa's voice fell. Layfon froze for a moment. He really seemed a little unexpected about this matter. The old man made a public apology in person. The old man is a Marine hero. Let a hero publicly apologize to all Marine. Do you want Garp's old face anymore? It means the rhythm of the evening festival is not guaranteed. Old man, what did he say? Layfon frowned and took a deep look at Khalifa. Yes, openly to all Marines in Marineford. Khalifa has a pretty face and is serious. With Khalifa's voice, it came to Layfon's ears. For a short while, Layfon frowned and did not speak again. Old man, is this really all or nothing? Put all the bets on yourself. Once you lose, it doesn't just mean that you lose. Even the majestic Marine hero, the old man, would lose face. This moment, only then did Layfon deeply feel how heavy the burden was on his shoulders. I can't represent myself alone. Even Garp is already tied together. One prospers, one loses all. Old man, can you at least say hello to me? This silent one, what kind of trouble is it going to do? Your confidence in me is higher than my own confidence in myself. Layfon couldn't help complaining in his heart. This is just great. His pressure was inexplicably huge. If this wave is lost, grandparents and grandchildren will be the biggest joke in Marineford. The prestige of the Marine hero will be wiped out. This naturally made Layfon feel a lot of pressure. It was okay for him to lose, but he was afraid that it would affect Garp's status and influence as a Marine hero. It's so good, give me this one. As expected of you, old man, this is the rhythm that will kill me. Layfon couldn't help shaking his head. That is to say, your challenge represents the Vice Admiral Garp behind you. Khalifa was afraid that Layfon would not know about it, so he explained it to Layfon with a melodious voice. I know. Layfon waved his hands helplessly. How could he fail to see this? Have to say, Garp's coquettish manipulation really caught him off guard. Without making a sound, such a challenge came. It seems like Garp directly put his title of hero, this heavy bet, all on Layfon. Naturally, the pressure in Layfon's heart increased. This is what is done, it is really only allowed to win but not to lose. If you lose, the consequences will be too serious. I can lose. I can afford to lose too. Advertisement. But the old man can't afford to lose. He put all his wealth on me. If I lose this round, then the old man will be bankrupt. Layfon thought to himself. Pressure. The overwhelming pressure swept over Layfon's body and mind. Originally, facing this challenge 3 days later, he basically didn't have any pressure, and he was even eager to try, full of anticipation in his heart. But all of these came to an end with Khalifa's last words. Have no choice. The old man put his heavy bet on himself. Layfon, of course, will not be so easy. If it wasn't for my coincidence today, I just awakened observation haki. In this wave, wouldn't the old man really have to lose only his crotch? Layfon thought oddly. But it's okay. I have successfully awakened the color of knowledge. Moreover, the strength has successfully entered the strength class of Marine Rear Admiral. In this way, the challenge 3 days later, although for Layfon, does still have a lot of difficulty and unstable factors. But with the strength of Layfon Rear Admiral, he has enough confidence to wipe out all these so-called unstable factors. If he hadn't just awakened the color of knowledge, Layfon would not be able to deal with it so calmly at this moment. This is really, what a coincidence. Old man, you can predict everything like a god. Or, you already knew that I will awaken knowledge color in the near future. Layfon is certainly not hard to judge. All of this is for Garp to create a certain amount of pressure and motivation for him, so that his potential can be brought into full play, so that he can become stronger at an even more terrifying speed. But Garp must have never dreamed of it. Actually. On the second day after arriving in Marineford, that is today, Layfon has already awakened his knowledge, and let his strength officially enter the Marine Rear Admiral level. Furthermore, there are still 3 full days before this challenge. How strong can I become in 3 days? Today, I have successfully stepped into the power level of Rear Admiral. Give me another 3 days to prepare, and where will I reach? Layfon is deeply looking forward to this. Don't panic. There are still 3 days to improve your own strength a lot. In this way, to cope with the challenges 3 days later, you will have greater confidence. How much can an ordinary person's strength change in 3 days? Minuscule, almost negligible, but, for Layfon, 3 days is enough to double his strength several times, maybe even more than 10 times. Anything else? Lifting his head, Layfon looked at the beautiful and dignified Khalifa in front of him. Have to admit, with Khalifa here to take care of the housework, Layfon has a lot more time and doesn't have to worry about daily chores. All of this has Khalifa to solve. Khalifa does an almost impeccable job of handling these trivialities. Let Layfon have to sigh with emotion. As expected of an elite agent in CP9. One more thing. The ensign uniform you customized yesterday has already been delivered by a special person. It will be delivered today together with Ensign's exclusive and well-crafted samurai sword. Khalifa said a few more words one after another. Ensign's uniform and weapons. Exactly. I really lack a handy weapon. Layfon looked at the samurai sword on his waist with a smile on his face. Ordinary fine samurai swords can no longer meet my needs. With my current attainments in swordsmanship, I deserve a famous sword to show my status as a swordsman. Pity. How rare are famous knives? It is not so easy to get a suitable famous knife. Advertisement. There are only so many famous swords in the sea, but the number of sword masters is innumerable. There are also many collectors who have a soft spot for famous knives, and they will wantonly use berry to purchase famous knives for collection. This makes the number of famous knives circulating in the sea extremely rare. But it is not so easy for Layfon to get a famous knife of his own, and there needs to be a certain amount of luck in it. Of course, if one's own status has been improved by Marine, he can naturally ask Marine to open Marine's warehouse and let Layfon go in to pick famous knives. Asking for flowers. With Marine's heritage over the years, famous knives are bound to be collected. It's just that with the current status of Layfon, he still can't get the famous knife presented by Marine. Next, Khalifa brought Ensign's uniform and saber to Layfon. After a while, Layfon, who was wearing a Marine ensign uniform, was holding a penultimate katana sword, standing in front of the mirror and looking carefully at it. Layfon, who was wearing the justice coat, was only 7 years old, and his figure was naturally not as burly as an adult, but he was wearing a Marine ensign, showing a sharp and powerful oppression. On both sides of the shoulders of the justice coat, Layfon has already stabbed Ensign's official rank badge directly into the collar on both sides, so that he can show his ensign identity all the time. 7 years old Marine ensign. Wearing Ensign's exclusive Marine uniform and carrying the ensign badge on his shoulders, Layfon can be regarded as the real Naval Headquarters ensign. It looks good. Layfon looked at himself in the mirror and commented. Although he is young and has a relatively short and thin figure, it does not hinder Layfon, who is wearing a marine uniform, exuding the power and majestic oppression of ensign at this moment. After admiring the brand new ensign uniform, Layfon turned his eyes and focused on the samurai sword in his hand. This sword, in terms of quality and workmanship, is much better than the previous samurai sword. Although it still does not belong to the ranks of famous swords, it is much more handy than the previous sword. Layfon felt the grip of the samurai sword tightly, and a smile appeared on his face. Almost all the equipment on his body has been replaced with a brand new set. Khalifa, how are you feeling? Layfon turned and smiled at Khalifa. There is no sense of violation and. Khalifa thought for a while, and commented on Layfon's outfit from the bottom of his heart. Really, on the outside, this marine uniform is worn on Layfon's body. There is no sense of disobedience at all, but it seems very suitable. Just as Layfon was about to continue admiring his own ensign uniform. Boom boom boom. The door of the house was knocked without warning. I'm going to open the door. Khalifa quickly took long legs, walked to the door and quickly opened it. Crunch. With the door opened, a middle-aged man in a golden shirt with a somewhat wretched appearance stood in front of the door, scratching his ears, and looked vaguely impatient. When I see him, the first feeling I get is obscene. The second sense is lazy. The first intuitive impression is that wretchedness plus laziness are combined into one. Such a person looking at Marineford is quite rare and firm. That's right, as this where the kid Layfon lives. Admiral personally came to teach me swordsmanship. Come to think of it, you kid, you should be Layfon, the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp, right? I don't have much time to waste on you. After listening to Kizaru's words, Layfon was stunned on the spot. Khalifa saw the identity of this person at first glance. Huang, Kizaru Admiral, it can be said that they are rare and unique. Layfon also noticed the movement in front of the door, and he walked over with an expression full of surprise. Seeing the figure of Layfon walking out, Kizaru straight to the point and truthfully stated the purpose of the trip. I was ordered by Marshal Sengoku to teach you swordsmanship for 3 days. Kizaru's voice came out of his mouth flatly. Now you prepare, and after a while, immediately start training. The wretched middle-aged man standing in front of the door at this moment is Kizaru Pelusalino, one of the 3 admirals in naval headquarters today. Khalifa's pink lips moved slightly, and she was surprised for no reason. Teach me swordsmanship, Kizaru. Therefore, advertisement chapter 163 getting started with 3 days of knowledge. Unless a miracle happens. Open black lens bracket 5/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Good guy, old man, actually invited the Admiral of Headquarters to teach me swordsmanship. That's something Layfon really didn't expect. He was very surprised that Kizaru appeared at the door of his house. Far beyond expectations. Emotion. The old man is not unprepared. In order to be able to meet all the challenges after 3 days, he invited an admiral to come to teach him the level of swordsmanship. It can also be seen from this that Garp still attaches great importance to the challenge 3 days later. Otherwise, it is also impossible to invite an admiral to come and teach Layfon swordsmanship. Old man, you are also afraid of losing. I also invited Kizaru Admiral to teach me swordsmanship. Layfon cursed inwardly. I thought Garp didn't care about the title and face of his marine hero. Never thought about it. Garp has already prepared everything. Old man, are you so confident in my talent? Even if you invite an admiral to teach swordsmanship, there are only 3 days. You are so confident that my swordsmanship level can improve by leaps and bounds in these 3 days. It looks like the old man has considerable trust in his talent. How can I let the old man down? Since it is like 177. Kizaru Admiral, let's go then. After reacting, Layfon looked at the wretched middle-aged man in front of him, with a smile on his face. Obscene plus lazy. The two, combined into one. Only Kizaru can meet this requirement. Walk. Kizaru nodded, without too many words and nonsense. Khalifa, prepare lunch and wait for my return. After making some arrangements, Layfon, wearing ensign's marine uniform and carrying a newly acquired high-quality katana sword, followed Kizaru away step by step. Now Layfon can deeply feel how easy it is to have a housekeeper and nanny at home. Poor Khalifa, looking at Layfon's back fading away with her beautiful eyes, bit her pink lips lightly, stomped her feet angrily, and looked back at the empty house. Her pretty and dignified face carried a bit of resentment. Do you really think of yourself as a babysitter? Hateful. Ah, man. Stinky man. My old lady is an excellent agent of dignified CP9. Grandmaster Spy War, lurking, secretarial and other all in one charismatic female agent, is she really treated like a housekeeper? Hateful. No. 9 Fencing Dojo. This is one of the countless swordsmanship dojos established by Marineford. With such a large Marineford, the number of Marines who are sword masters is naturally very large. On weekdays, the communication between swordsman and swordsman is the competition of swordsmanship and swordsmanship. Naturally, it is necessary to set up countless places for them to exchange ideas and exchanges. Vice Admiral Garp and Marshal Sengoku, they have already explained to me. You, awakened armament haki. Kizaru stood quietly in front of Layfon, looking at Layfon with some amazement. The moment when you hear the news, he did look surprised. A 7-year-old child has actually mastered the armed color. Advertisement. This is indeed a very rare and incredible thing. Rao is Kizaru, both deeply amazed by this. Genius. Things. Kizaru can only be called a genius for someone who has mastered armed colors at the age of 7. I know that you still have conquerors, and you can control and use it proficiently. This talent is really scary. Kizaru is not stingy with his praise and appreciation. Even he never had the conqueror's potential. However, Layfon, who is only 7 years old, not only possesses this talent potential, but also has mastered the conquerors proficiently at this age. It can be seen from this. This talent has seriously exceeded the ordinary category. Today, before instructing you on swordsmanship, I will let you have a deeper concept and insight on swordsmanship. First of all, for a swordsman, what is the most important thing to learn? Armament color. This is undeniable. Armament color is of course very important to a swordsman. With armament haki, the weapon in the hands of a swordsman will not suffer serious damage during fierce battles and collisions. The weapon in your hand can be imagined for a swordsman. In other words, the knife in your hand is the second life of a swordsman. The role of armament haki is to protect the sword hero's second life. Certainly. In addition to armed color, knowledge color is also a very important skill for swordsmen. With the increase in defense and strength brought by the armed color, the role of observation haki can be more clearly displayed in battle. Kizaru said again and again, and slowly took out a golden halo from the palm of his left hand. Yes, the golden light was held tightly in Kizaru's hands. Gradually, this bright golden halo condensed into the shape of a sword, and the halo and fierce coercion quickly swept in all directions, covering this huge swordsmanship dojo. This is Kizaru's Devil Fruit ability. Use the Devil Fruit ability to create 3 swords. Amazon Cloud Sword. Kizaru held the golden Amazono sword in his right hand, and looked at Layfon seriously with both eyes, exuding a majestic and terrifying coercion all over his body. Although he had a somewhat lazy expression on his face, the majestic coercion on his body at this moment did not weaken at all, but increased steadily. It's a terrible breath. Feeling this majestic aura rushing towards his face, Maofeng couldn't help being amazed. Admiral's strength is still unfathomable. There is a very long distance from myself. Considering that Layfon has already stepped into the level of Rear Admiral, but when facing an Admiral of Headquarters, he will already feel boundless oppression. The level gap is too big. However, how long have I been practicing? There is no need to be so ambitious. Sooner or later, I will be able to successfully reach this realm of strength. Layfon's eyes flickered, looking at Kizaru in front of him. Admiral's strength, a terrifying horse. Just relying on this momentum can make people feel pressure. The effect of observation haki on Janao. It's like what good eyesight does to a Shinso. The color of knowledge, and knowledge is the vision of the sword hero. It can accurately capture all the abnormal movements around the vision, and there is no way to hide the slightest movement. Under the super strong field of vision of the color of knowledge, the swordsman can judge more accurately the trajectory and direction of the enemy's attack, and react and counterattack in advance. Compared to armed color, it brings an improvement in the strength and defense of the swordsman himself. Knowledge color will subtly improve the overall level of strength of the swordsman. And what I'm going to teach you today. That's how observation haki works. Holding Amakongan's sword, Kizaru spoke in a flat tone. After thinking twice, Kizaru decided to teach the use of Layfon observation haki. Advertisement. Well known. A swordsman who has a certain attainment in swordsmanship, in a short period of time, the level of swordsmanship will not change much. No matter how excellent a swordsman is to teach him, there will be no exception. The attainment of swordsmanship requires years of honing and accumulation before it can be improved little by little. It is impossible to present this state of rapid progress in a short period of time. Therefore, considering that there are only 3 days of teaching time, Kizaru decided to try his best to let Layfon comprehend observation haki as much as possible. In this way, only with the strength of Layfon can we usher in a huge leap forward. This is also the original intention of Kizaru. Layfon, who has already mastered the armed color, obviously lacks the knowledge of swordsmanship the most, but the awakening of observation haki, another discipline. This is what Kizaru believes is the most important ability for Layfon. Only by awakening the color of knowledge, Layfon's strength can usher in a huge improvement in a short period of time. It's just that the only helpless thing is, 3 days is still too short after all. No matter how good a genius is, it is also impossible to cultivate observation haki to the beginning in 3 days. However, I can only do my best to teach. As for this kid, whether he can learn it or not depends on his own good luck. Anyway, there are only 3 days. In fact, Kizaru does not think that Layfon can fully grasp the color of knowledge in 3 days. Regardless of knowledge color, or armed color, it is a relatively difficult means of combat. Undeniable. No matter how clumsy a person is, they can learn to be armed and knowledgeable, but it takes years, even decades of training and precipitation. Same. No matter how talented a person is, it is impossible to learn the color of arms and the color of knowledge in a short period of time. In Kizaru's impression, it took him more than half a year to learn the skills of arming and knowledge, before he barely reached the level of entry. This achievement is already quite excellent. By contrast, now Layfon only has 3 days to learn about color. That made Kizaru almost certain. 3.8 Want to let Layfon master knowledge color within 3 days. Impossible. Not at all possible. Not to mention 3 days, even within a month, the degree of difficulty is very high if you want to get to the point where you can learn about color and knowledge. It's not like Kizaru hasn't seen geniuses either. But I have never seen it before. Someone can learn the color of knowledge or the color of arms in just 1 month. If someone can really do it, then it cannot be described by the word Weikai. Not a genius. This horse is a monster. Do not. No monster can do it. Within a month, you will learn the basics of knowledge and color. This is really subversive cognition. 3 days. It's too short. Kizaru couldn't help shaking his head. If the time can be increased to 1 month, although the possibility is still very small, at least there is a slight possibility. But if there are only 3 short days, that is, there is no possibility at all. Unless a miracle can happen to this kid. Thinking of this, the ape couldn't help laughing. Miracle. If miracles were so easy to happen, then it wouldn't be called a miracle. Advertisement Chapter 164 I didn't say I can't observation haki. Open black lens bracket 6/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Kizaru Admiral, are you sure you're right? Layfon looked at Kizaru strangely. Just now, did I hear wrong? What is Kizaru trying to teach me? Observation haki. No way, no way. Are you sure you didn't make a mistake? Running all the way here, feeling is to teach yourself to see and hear. Instead of teaching yourself swordsmanship. Layfon really misunderstood it at first, thinking that Kizaru was here to teach him swordsmanship. After all, with Kizaru's level of swordsmanship, he does have the qualifications to teach him swordsmanship. Among the 3 admirals, only Kizaru has the same level of swordsmanship. For the rest of Akainu and Aokiji, their swordsmanship attainments are simply abysmal. Even if Kizaru doesn't have the devil fruit ability, he can be ranked among the naval headquarters vice admirals with his proficient swordsmanship. There is no doubt about this. It's just that I never expected. In the end, Kizaru actually taught knowledge and color. Do not talk nonsense. Kizaru didn't have time to explain too much to Layfon, so he directly let Layfon enter the state of training, teach you sword skills. I don't think that in these short 3 days, your sword skills will improve by leaps and bounds. In that case, why not take a gamble? Betting on you kid, maybe a miracle can happen, and you can master observation haki. In this way, your strength can already be regarded as the level of Rear Admiral. It shouldn't be too difficult to meet the challenge after 3 days. Obviously, Kizaru also knew that the challenge was 3 days later. Although he doesn't pay close attention to it, Kizaru, who is a majestic Admiral of Headquarters, will more or less hear about the storm that swept through Marineford. He also knows. The core of this turmoil is Lay, who is only 7 years old. Layfon is the main key core of this storm. Garp, on the other hand, is just a 14 support that fuels the flames. The most important output depends on the kid Layfon. Kizaru, who comforted Layfon verbally, shook his head and laughed helplessly in his heart. 3 days. What an international joke. Unless a miracle really happens. Otherwise, 3 days of knowledge. I'm afraid I'm living in a dream. All right, let's not waste any more time, you don't have enough time. The challenge after 3 days, for you, is one-on-one against half of Marineford. I'm very surprised, how could Vice Admiral Garp let you, a 7-year-old brat, bear such a lot of pressure? You are only 7 years old, and you want to single out half of Marineford. This is indeed too unimaginable. When the time comes, I hope you will not be afraid to fight. Kizaru talked a lot today. On weekdays, with his personality, he is basically the lazy and talkative Yongya. It may be because of Layfon's strength, or the level of talent, that Kizaru was pleased with Lyaxin for a while, so he said a few more words to Layfon. Have to say, the talent that Layfon has is the scariest one that Kizaru has ever met. Only 7 years old, he has mastered Conquerors, Armed Colors, Grandmaster Marine 6 styles, and has good sword skills. If he hadn't actually met Layfon himself, Huang Yuan couldn't imagine it. How could a 7-year-old child have such a terrifying talent? But no matter how genius. In 3 days, it is impossible to master knowledge. Miracles don't happen all the time. Then, under Kizaru's gesture, Layfon sits cross-legged above the board. During the process, Layfon tried to explain to Kizaru. But helpless. Kizaru directly shied away and ignored Layfon's intentions, but instead insisted that Layfon devote himself wholeheartedly to the training, don't get distracted, and concentrate on playing 12 points. After explaining again and again, Layfon felt helpless and stopped talking too much. Ready. The training method of observation haki is relatively harsh. I will use the Tiankongan sword in my hand to test your reaction ability. The practice of observation haki is an arduous practice that accumulates over time, not something that can be done in a short period of time. Therefore, you must be fully prepared mentally. Don't get upset. Relax and treat with a normal heart. Correct your mentality, so that you can better understand observation haki. Don't think that if you have talent, you can learn the basics in a short period of time. Let me tell you, this is basically impossible, unless you think that miracles can happen to you. No matter how talented a genius monster is, it is impossible to achieve knowledge in a short period of time. If you want to learn knowledge, you must have a correct mentality. Under Kizaru's instruction. Advertisement. Then, training has officially begun. Although the training is to attack Layfon with Amakongan sword, Kizaru is still very measured, of course he dare not really hurt Layfon. Otherwise, he couldn't pass the level of Garp. For Garp, Kizaru is still in awe. At Naval Headquarters Marineford, Garp and Sengoku can be said to be the few objects that Kizaru maintains awe. Even if he became the Admiral of Headquarters, Kizaru dare not be too arrogant when facing these two. Be careful. Close your eyes. Be careful. Feel my attack. Then, the body instinctively responded to my attack. This is called predicting the attack in advance. When you can do this, it means that you have already gained a certain understanding of knowledge and color, and you will soon be able to learn the basics. Certainly, it will take a certain amount of time to achieve this level. Kizaru held the Amakongan sword and looked at Layfon, who was sitting cross-legged on the wooden board in front of him. The practice method of knowledge color is very simple and simple. Not too much bells and whistles. 2 words are the key and trick. That is, take a beating. Only when the number of beatings increases, the body will naturally have some kind of instinctive reaction to the crisis. And this is the main feature of the color of knowledge is about to get started. Just in Kizaru's opinion, it will take a lot of time for Layfon to reach this level. 3 days. This is obviously unrealistic. No matter how terrifying the talent is, it is impossible to do it. Kizaru is holding this mentality. Do your best. As for how much Layfon can learn in these 3 days, it has nothing to do with him. Anyway, he tried his best. In the end, it only depends on Layfon's own talent and understanding. Layfon couldn't find the time to explain, so he could only close his eyes helplessly, feeling a little weird. Learn color in 3 days. Can only miracles happen? Sure. Kizaru's words, lingering in Layfon's ears, never dissipated. Here we go. I will use slow motion to let you feel my attack. Kizaru held Amakongan's sword in his right hand, and slowly smashed the golden lightsaber in his hand towards Layfon's shoulder. Golden shirts. The lightsaber has reached Layfon's shoulder. Not too fast, but not too slow. I want to learn about color. Must learn to be beaten first. Kizaru looked at Layfon in front of him, as if he remembered the time when he was learning about S**X. The embarrassment of being beaten on the head by the teacher Zephyr with a wooden stick. That scene, let Kizaru so far, are somewhat unforgettable. With a turn of his gaze, Kizaru put aside all the thoughts in his mind, and quietly looked at Layfon in front of him. He wanted to see it too. A true genius. In the end, how high will the understanding be? At the same time, the moment Kizaru launched an attack, Layfon has upgraded his 5 senses to ultimate. And observation haki, already quietly, release instantly. Within a radius of hundreds of meters, the movement and stillness of all objects are infinitely magnified, and are presented incomparably clearly floating and rotating in Layfon's mind. The snail-like slow picture, and after zooming in, can make Layfon feel it very clearly. Kizaru's current every move, slow, too slow. The action was slowed down as if hundreds of times could be more than that. Even with his eyes closed, Layfon can still feel the movement of all objects around him. Compared with the picture seen by binocular vision, it is more comprehensive and detailed. Advertisement. Observation haki, endowing Layfon with more precise insight than naked eye vision. Kizaru's current every move, all of these cannot escape Layfon's knowledge and insights. After a comprehensive slowdown, it appeared in Layfon's mind. That golden halo pierced through the air and slowly reached his shoulder. Then, without any surprise, Layfon turned slightly sideways. The left shoulder shrank slightly. Just like that, without any warning, the golden lightsaber passed by, and slipped from Layfon's left shoulder, without hitting a single bit, not even touching his clothes. The atmosphere suddenly became a little delicate. Silence. No sound. Kindness. Kizaru's pupils narrowed, looking a little surprised. What's going on? This brat actually escaped. What does this mean? Accidental, or a coincidence? Holding these thoughts, Kizaru raised the 547 golden lightsaber in his hand again. Tien Kongyan's sword swept across Layfon's ear. This time, Kizaru's speed accelerated a bit, but it was still hard to escape Layfon's knowledgeable insight. With a slight turn of the head, Layfon easily avoided the sword with his eyes closed. Unexpectedly, Tien Kongyan's sword made a detour, and cut down vertically. Layfon was a little surprised, but still twisted his body. Then, Tien Kongyan's sword directly penetrated the wooden floor where Layfon was sitting before. Kizaru's movements didn't stop at all. The third sword, swept down directly. The fourth sword, the fifth sword, without exception. All of them were escaped by Layfon without any risk. This moment, Kizaru's movements stopped abruptly. Kizaru, who was holding the Amakongan sword, looked full of bewilderment and horror. His eyes were wide and round, and he stared blankly at Layfon, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed. Kizaru's mind became confused. He was stunned. Here, what's the situation? Can anyone explain to me? Once or twice is fine. This has happened 4 or 5 times. But it was still unavoidable, and all of them happened to be dodged by this brat. Accidental. Coincide. How could this stepping on a horse be a coincidence and chance? 4 or 5 times. Can coincidence and chance happen 4 or 5 times in a row? Once or twice, it can still be called coincidence and accident. But the same situation has already appeared 4 or 5 times, which can directly rule out the possibility of chance. Not by chance. 2. Inevitable. Little devil, you. Kizaru's throat was dry, and he spoke to Layfon with a shocked expression. At this time, Layfon, who closed his eyes tightly, slowly opened them. He then saw Kizaru standing in front of him with a face full of shock at the moment, and the latter's wretched and lazy face, full of bewildered mood swings. Immediately, Layfon couldn't help shaking his head, showing a helpless expression. Kizaru Admiral, actually, I wanted to explain it to you from the very beginning. Unfortunately, you didn't give me a chance to explain it at all. I never said that I don't know about color fungus gas. You seem to have some kind of deep misunderstanding of me. Advertisement Chapter 165 Miracle. This riding horse is simply a miracle. Open black lens bracket 1/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. I really can't figure it out. What is it that makes you so sure, Kizaru Admiral, that I don't know anything about observation haki? Layfon quietly looked at Kizaru, who was in a daze. This moment, Kizaru was dumbfounded. He felt it. I seem to have suffered a very painful ridicule. What? What the hell? Just now, what happened? Who I am? Where am I? What am I going to do? Kizaru, who was in a mess of thoughts, had a sluggish look on his wretched face, and was stunned and stiff in place. His right hand holding the Amakongan sword was stagnant in midair, like a statue, motionless. The majestic Admiral of Headquarters, Kizaru's cognitive view has been completely overturned. Rao as Admiral's experience, Kizaru was deeply shocked by what happened now, and his mood fluctuated violently. Coincide. Accidental. Do not. It can be confirmed with great accuracy. Can be concluded. He has already mastered observation haki. Otherwise, the opponent would not have been able to dodge the 4 or 5 consecutive attacks just now so simply and easily, without any danger. Although Kizaru didn't try his best to attack, but don't forget that Layfon has been sitting cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed. If he hadn't awakened the color of knowledge, how would he explain how to avoid Kizaru's attack one after another? Or with his eyes closed? Without vision, how to avoid Kizaru's attack? Once or twice can be said to be a coincidence and chance. But after 4 or 5 times, they all escaped. Can this be explained as a coincidence? Non-existent. This is inevitable. Why is it necessary? Because the other party has awakened the color of knowledge. All attack trajectories will be impossible to hide, and will be slowed down hundreds of times, and will be directly presented in the opponent's mind. There is no need to use binocular vision to capture. This is the wonderful use of observation haki. In addition to endowing the body with an extremely strong sixth sense of wildness, it can also present a picture of every movement of all objects within a radius of hundreds of meters, which has been slowed down by hundreds of times, and directly emerges in the mind. It does not require binocular vision, and can still capture every move of all objects around it. Do not. Compared with the picture captured by the eyes, it is more clear and meticulous, and almost every detail and subtle movement cannot escape observation haki's insight. You mean to say, why did you wake up the color of knowledge so early? Only then did Kizaru suppress the shock in his heart a little bit, his eyes widened and rounded, and he looked at the 7-year-old Layfon in front of him with a terrified expression. What's the matter? This is completely different from the news he received. Marshal Sengoku and Vice Admiral Garp, they didn't tell themselves. This brat has already mastered observation haki. What is this for? In the end, what happened? The news that Kizaru got was completely different from what he saw. It is precisely because of this. It was Kizaru's mood that made him feel so shaken. Without any mental preparation at all, he was shocked by the news that Layfon had already mastered observation haki, and his mood was shocked like a storm, rolling waves after waves, which could not be calmed down. The news he received was obviously just an indication. This brat is currently armed with weapons, conquerors, superb sword skills, and Grandmaster Marine 6 styles, but he has never mentioned observation haki. So, as soon as Kizaru came here, he first chose to teach Layfon knowledge and color instead of teaching Layfon the improvement of swordsmanship attainments. But Kizaru never expected it. The development of things has reached this weird point. The other party has already mastered observation haki. Neither Garp nor Sengoku ever mentioned that Layfon has observation haki. Could it be? Have you been tricked? Kizaru shook his head, throwing off all the absurdity. These two, there is no need to tease yourself. There is absolutely no need for this. So why? Advertisement. These two, are they ignorant of the fact that the kid has mastered observation haki? There are only 2 possibilities. The first is, this brat's knowledgeable color is either hidden very deeply. As for the second one, it can only be said that this kid's observation haki was only recently awakened and mastered. That's why Sengoku and Garp are allowed to be unaware of this. Compared to the former possibility, Kizaru obviously leans more towards the latter. The possibility of the latter will obviously be higher. Nor, strictly speaking, it's not that the color of knowledge has been awakened a long time ago, but the color of knowledge that was just awakened this morning. Layfon smiled and told the truth. Really, it's not too early to master the color of knowledge. Coincidentally, just this morning, I just awakened the color of knowledge and knowledge. As if waiting for that challenge 3 days later. And today's check-in, the luck is out of the table, directly endowing Layfon with knowledge. It can be regarded as a real collection of conquerors haki. Not only has knowledge and knowledge awakened strength, and successfully entered the Rear Admiral class. Can be said to be double happiness. After mastering the Conqueror's haki, Layfon's strength will naturally no longer be limited to the Marine Commodore class, and he will successfully break through the threshold and reach the Rear Admiral realm. You mean, this morning, the knowledge color that just awakened? Kizaru looked confused. Do not know why. These words came from Layfon's mouth. Always let Kizaru had an illusion. Just like observation haki, as cheap as Chinese cabbage on the street, can be mastered as soon as you say it, without any difficulty factor, but it is extraordinarily simple. Say something. Right. Observation haki, after all, is also a high-end combat method. And the difficulty factor is quite high. But hearing these words from Layfon's mouth, Kizaru couldn't feel the difficulties Layfon encountered in learning observation haki. Instead it's more like, it's here. When will observation haki be mastered so easily? This is not scientific. Kizaru couldn't help thinking. Back then, when he was learning observation haki, he encountered too many hardships. It took half a year to barely master observation haki. This is already considered quite a high talent. But from Layfon, Kizaru can't imagine. The former, how much time did they use in total? It sounds like you have mastered it casually. Is this my illusion? Kizaru froze in place. Is it easy to see color? Easy. Are all the hardships I have experienced in the past fake? It took a lot of hard work to barely grasp the color of knowledge. Could it be that it was all fabricated by myself? Under the strong contrast, Kizaru couldn't help doubting life. It is precisely because of the knowledge that I just woke up in the morning that I haven't had time to tell other people. This is how the embarrassing situation just now was brewed. Layfon spoke again. But, Layfon pondered for a moment. Even if I tell Garp, whether the latter can believe it is a big question. Sometimes, it's really hard to be honest. On the contrary, lying can make people believe it very quickly. This made Layfon feel helpless. What a hopeless world. Telling the truth is always suspect. What kind of monster am I talking to? I actually taught a monster observation haki. The most important thing is, this monster, he has already comprehended the color of knowledge, and I am still trying to teach him the cultivation method of observation haki. Advertisement. Kizaru suddenly felt ashamed. Also, he couldn't help thinking of it. At first, he said those words to Layfon. All these words, like a revolving lantern, emerged in Kizaru's mind, making his memory clearer and clearer. You tell the truth. How long have you been in contact with the cultivation of knowledge and knowledge? Kizaru looked at Layfon, took a deep breath, suppressed the vibration in his heart and asked. Contact the practice of observation haki. Layfon thought about it for a while, and did not deliberately hide it. You may not believe it. In fact, I have practiced observation haki. Adding up, it is less than a day. The words fell. The atmosphere suddenly became weird. Silence. Kizaru froze. He opened his mouth, his throat was dry and he couldn't speak for a while. Rao is Kizaru, who is a dignified Admiral of Headquarters. With his experience and psychological quality, he was shocked by Layfon's short words. What the hell? Less than a day? What international joke are you making? Learned about color in one day. You thought it was a child playing house. If it's really that simple, wouldn't everyone in this sea have already mastered the color of knowledge? But are there really so many people in the sea who have mastered the color of knowledge? Of course not. Especially in the first half of the Grand Line, there are too few people who have mastered observation haki. It can be seen from here. The degree of difficulty of the color of knowledge is really quite high. Not everyone can cultivate the color of knowledge to the entry level in a short period of time. But when it comes to Layfon, what's the situation? Started in less than a day. This must be fake. There will never be such an example. Kizaru just wanted to veto. But when he raised his head and saw Layfon's expression in front of him, Kizaru's words came to his lips, but he couldn't say those rebuttals and vetoes. From the expression on Layfon's face, Kizaru couldn't see any trace of lying. Didn't lie. Nuo Jiao Jiao, but really. In just one day, learn the basics of knowledge and color. I must be crazy. This kind of thing can never exist. One day, I will never believe it even if I am killed. There has never been a similar horror in the sea. Looking at the sea for hundreds of years, or even nearly 1,000 years, it is absolutely impossible to exist. Kizaru was shocked. He still couldn't believe it. Such an unbelievable example. It's even already shocked the world. He still remembers it clearly. Before teaching Layfon about color, he mentioned. Within a month, if you can learn the color of knowledge, you can be regarded as a very frightening child of heaven. If you look at the sea for 100 years, you can be said to be one of the best. As for learning observation haki in 3 days, Kizaru felt disapproving at the time. Miracles can happen to Layfon. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible. Can be final. Kizaru couldn't even dream of it. Not 3 days. 2. It only took a day. Then observation haki, learn to get started. What a horrible concept is this. Simply unimaginable. If it is said that learning observation haki within 3 days, it can be said to be a miracle. So, learn to see and hear color in 1 day, how to describe it? Miracle. Do not. This is no longer a miracle. This riding horse is simply a miracle. Advertisement Chapter 166 Swordsmanship Teaching. Showdown with Admiral Kizaru. Open black lens bracket 2/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Quote. Who can explain to me how this is done? What kind of monster is this, who can learn the color of knowledge in a day? Is this possible? I must have not woken up yet. Vice Admiral Garp, Marshal Sengoku, you guys, let me teach a monster of this level. Are you right? Let me teach him. Now, Kizaru looked at Layfon in front of him, feeling turbulent and unable to calm down. 3 days to learn color. In the past, there has never been such an example. Therefore, according to Kizaru, such terrifying phenomena can only occur when a miracle happens. However, right at this moment, in front of his eyes, he witnessed it with his own eyes. A freak who has cultivated his knowledge to the basic level in just 1 day. Miracle. This is a miracle. What kind of genius can do such a frightening act? Anyway, even Kizaru, who is the Admiral of Headquarters, is a little unimaginable. With his knowledge and experience, he has never heard of such a terrifying example in the sea. It's incredible. You can learn the basics of knowledge and color in one day. What is this concept? The essential. This brat is only 7 years old. Looking at Layfon's immature and young face, Kizaru couldn't help crying in his heart. Comparing people to people, it really makes people mad. Back then, it took him several months or even half a year to learn the color of knowledge and knowledge by himself, before he managed to learn the color of knowledge and knowledge to the beginning. And now, but Layfon only needed 1 day to do what he needed half a year to do. This naturally made Kizaru feel complicated. He was hit hard. Anyway, I am also an Admiral of Headquarters. Unexpectedly, it was so embarrassing to be hit 220 by this 7-year-old kid. I was the one who was abrupt. Looking at Layfon, Kizaru suppressed the many emotional fluctuations in his heart. Let yourself teach the other side about color. How can I be myself? To teach this level of monster knowledge, does the other party need to teach the other party's knowledge and color? Get started in 1 day. Who can teach such a monster? Who is qualified to teach? Kizaru suddenly felt a little guilty. He asked himself, are you really qualified to teach this kind of monster? The more I think about Kizaru, the less confident I become. Thinking back to his time, it took him half a year to learn the color of knowledge and knowledge. But right now, the freak he taught only needs 1 day to learn it. Under the strong contrast, Kizaru couldn't help but feel ashamed. This monster taught itself a hammer. Teach to beat yourself up. Kizaru looked at Layfon with complicated emotions, unable to describe it for a while. Kizaru Admiral, are you okay? Advertisement. Layfon saw Kizaru's turbulent expression and couldn't help asking. Good. Kizaru's words were perfunctory. Calm down for a moment. He spoke again. Well, since you have learned observation haki. Next, I will formally guide your sword skills. So that your sword skills can be improved to a certain extent in these 3 days. Although the 3 days are relatively short, if it is you, with the terrifying talent you possess, you may not be sure, there is really a lot of room for improvement in swordsmanship. Even so, but Kizaru still doesn't think that Layfon's swordsmanship can show a room for leaps and bounds in 3 days. This is obviously not realistic. Miracle, how can it happen one after another? Mastering observation haki in 1 day is already absurd and exaggerated. This brat, it's impossible for him to double his sword skills in just 3 days, right? Having said that, Kizaru suddenly lacked confidence. I don't know why, he always had a sense of foreboding. The Layfon in front of him gave Kizaru a strong sense of impenetrability. Can't see through it all. Mysterious and unfathomable. In particular, in terms of talent potential. The other party is like a bottomless pit, completely unable to figure out where the other party's limit is. Limit. Like this kind of monster, does talent really have a limit? You can learn the basics of knowledge and color in 1 day. What kind of talent can do this? Perhaps, it's just a coincidence. Miracles are always impossible, they happen every moment. There are already enough miracles happening to this brat. It's impossible. His frightening talent for swordsmanship will still be so terrifying and miracles will happen. Kizaru was a little uncertain for a moment. Shaking his head, he violently shook off all these absurd thoughts in his head. A formal swordsmanship instruction training begins here. Layfon slowly took out the samurai sword at his waist, the cold touch spread from the palm of his hand to the whole body, so that he could feel it very clearly. The quality and workmanship of this knife far exceeds that of previous katana swords. As Ensign's custom-made exclusive saber, the natural workmanship is much more penultimate than the well-crafted samurai swords on the market. How to better improve swordsmanship? Theoretical knowledge can only be used in theory forever. If you want to improve your sword skills, the best and fastest way is actual combat. Kizaru looked at Layfon in front of him, his expression became serious. Only actual combat is the best way to improve your sword skills. Kizaru has always believed in this point. An excellent swordsman is not born from numerous theoretical knowledge, but stands out from countless fights and battles. Actual combat can make a swordsman completely reborn, and let a swordsman's swordsmanship undergo a qualitative leap. Kizaru is convinced of this. No powerful swordsman can be born from theoretical knowledge. Every penultimate swordsman with superb swordsmanship in high has experienced countless actual battles. From the actual combat BEBC, he understands the shortcomings of his own swordsmanship, and then makes up for them. 1 step at a time. This is the root of Janao becoming stronger. Compared with talent, Kizaru believes that hard work is much more important to Janao. With talent, only a sword can produce a deeper comprehension of swordsmanship. But it still needs countless practice and tempering, and the swordsman can master his own swordsmanship even more proficiently. Talent and hard work. Of the two, Kizaru thinks the latter will be more important. Advertisement. Certainly, if you have both, it will be more perfect. If you can only choose one of them, Kizaru always feels that a swordsman who works hard must go farther than a talented but lazy swordsman. Kizaru, who had this idea in mind, didn't think that 3 days would improve Layfon's swordsmanship much. Swordsmanship is 1 step at a time. Instead of stepping up to the sky. Only demons can make a person's strength rise to the sky in 1 step. Also, there is no second possibility. Obviously. Swordsmanship cannot be achieved by people, and the strength can reach the sky in a short period of time. So, the following Kizaru's teachings are simple. It is to start training around these 2 words. Actual combat. Amazon Cloud Sword. Kizaru slowly raised his right arm, and the golden halo condensed into a sword, held in his hand. The golden light emitted was extremely dazzling, and revealed a surging and fierce aura of coercion. What I'm going to teach you won't be too complicated. I won't talk about those things that are too complicated, not because I'm worried that you won't understand, but, I said that even I may not be able to understand. For those cumbersome and complicated theoretical knowledge, you can just go to the book and read it yourself. I will not waste this time on purpose to state these meaningless words to you. Although the 3 days are short, I will do my best to let your swordsmanship gain a certain amount. As for how big the gain is, it depends on your own understanding and talent. My teaching is simple: actual combat. In 3 days, I will let you get what you want from actual combat. And this is the only thing I can teach you. Kizaru's wretched face showed a rare seriousness. Theoretical knowledge. He never talks about so much theoretical knowledge. It makes no sense. By comparison, actual combat is the best training for a swordsman. Are you ready? The Amakongan sword in Kizaru's hand aimed at Layfon in front of him. Do your best to attack me. Let me see what level your sword skills have reached. A majestic and terrifying aura of coercion was released from Kizaru's body, sweeping in all directions. Covered by this breath, Layfon seemed to feel that his shoulders were being heavily suppressed by a huge stone, and his movements became more sluggish. It's really incredible momentum, Admiral. Layfon's eyes flickered, feeling the oppression of this terrifying momentum. Not only did he not feel any pressure or burden in his heart, but his expression was full of anticipation. In his eyes, the flames of war were burning. The opportunity to learn swordsmanship with Admiral is rare. For yourself, of course you have to take good care of it. Thinking of this, Layfon raised the samurai sword in his hand, looked at Kizaru in front of him, and thought. A majestic force of the body emerged from the right arm. Immediately afterwards, velocity visible to the naked eye. A layer of black armor, extending from Layfon's right arm to the katana in his hand. Instantly, above the samurai sword, a layer of black armor is wrapped around it, which is indestructible, and exudes a cold and sharp aura, which makes people hairy. Armed color. Kizaru's eyelids twitched. Although he had expected this, when he actually saw Layfon, who was only 7 years old, able to use armament haki so proficiently, he was still surprised for no reason. Have to admit, this is really a terrifying talent. Only 7 years old, can master such a proficient armed color. Even if the factor of age is completely ignored, armament haki alone, Layfon is enough to compare with almost 99% of the people in this sea. Advertisement Chapter 167. It's happy check in time again. Open black lens bracket 3/6 for customization. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The black armor, tightly wrapped around the katana in Layfon's hand, the blade is indestructible, exuding a cold and aura. A fierce aura emerged spontaneously, covering all directions. The aura born on Layfon's body was quickly released, and it collided with Kizaru's aura very strongly, as if the friction caused bursts of flames. Kizaru Admiral, please. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly, staring at Kizaru in front of him. This is the Admiral of Headquarters. Of course he didn't dare to relax and be careless. To be Admiral, no one is weak. Lacks. Main idea. This is an insult to Admiral. Little devil, then be careful. Kizaru had a playful look on his face. At the same time. Observation haki, in full bloom from Layfon's body. The entire space with a radius of several hundred meters was swept by this knowledge-colored airflow. At the same time, every move of any objects around will not escape Layfon's insight, and it will be presented in his mind with incomparable clarity, infinitely magnifying any tiny details, and these images are slowed down hundreds of times in quality. Layfon's 5 senses of the body, such as sight, hearing, smell, etc. Almost all round, elevated to ultimate of the body with the release of observation haki. The premonition of the crisis has also been deeply imprinted in Layfon's bones. Now, Layfon is in full swing. Knowledge color and armed color are all motivating. Lifting the samurai sword covered with armed armor in his hand, coupled with Marine 6 styles, and his own good swordsmanship, Layfon is full of confidence in his own strength. That moment, Kizaru's figure disappeared instantly. No symptoms. Quick. Too fast. Kizaru's body turned into a golden halo, and disappeared out of thin air with lightning speed, almost without any trace or omen. The color of knowledge. Can't catch either. Layfon's eyes flashed, and he only felt a majestic sense of oppression coming to his face. Pressure. Heart-pounding pressure. Even if the color of knowledge and knowledge is used to cover an area of hundreds of meters, the movement of all objects around is fully magnified and slowed down by nearly 100 times. Can Kizaru's speed, still elusive for Layfon, this is the strength of Admiral. Unfathomable. In its heyday, Layfon still couldn't capture Kizaru's current movement and attack trajectory. Behind you, a leisurely voice came from behind. Bling. The Amakongan sword, wielded by Kizaru, struck at Layfon's back. Boom. Layfon frowned, holding a katana covered in armor-colored armor, and swept across the back of his back. The collision of the blade and the lightsaber sparked bursts of fire. The majestic airflow spread, and some fine dust and debris on the ground were lifted up and rolled, and at the same time, it seemed that the space produced faint traces of creeping with the collision of the two. Nice reflexes. Kizaru looked very relaxed, his expression full of admiration. Kizaru Admiral, you used devil fruit, did you cheat? Layfon couldn't help but complain. Anyway, the majestic Admiral of Headquarters, how to use devil fruit when fighting against him? This is definitely too low grade. What you said seems to make sense. Advertisement. Kizaru nodded thoughtfully. In the next fight, Kizaru no longer used the ability of Devil Fruit, but used pure swordsmanship and physical skills to fight Layfon. Boom, boom. The sound of the blade colliding with the lightsaber was extremely ear-piercing and spread in all directions, lingering in this huge swordsmanship dojo. It's quiet here. No one, as a spectator in this fight. Otherwise, I'm afraid these people will be shocked. This is the majestic Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru. What an unbelievable and terrifying scene that the two are actually fighting back and forth in the swordsmanship competition with a child who was only 7 years old. Although Kizaru did not use Devil Fruit, it still gave Layfon a majestic sense of oppression. Kizaru's sword skills are quite high. Without using Devil Fruit, Layfon can still be suppressed easily, and you can tell from Kizaru's indifferent appearance. Kizaru, not serious at all, as expected of the Admiral of Headquarters. Layfon sighed in his heart, and didn't feel much frustration. Can't beat Admiral, isn't that a normal thing? If I can fight against Admiral without falling behind. Then, hasn't he already reached Admiral's level of strength? 7-year-old Marine Admiral. Thinking of this, Layfon couldn't help shaking his head and laughing. Focus. Get your spirits up. Layfon is engrossed in his current fight with Kizaru. Little devil, your swordsmanship is really extraordinary. Kizaru was not stingy with the compliments in his heart. Really, this is what he said from the bottom of his heart. Layfon's swordsmanship attainments, even looking at the sea, can be said to be not weak, and he has truly stepped into the threshold of an excellent swordsman. The scariest thing is, Layfon is only 7 years old. But he has already mastered such a terrifying swordsmanship, Kizaru couldn't help thinking. With this kid's terrifying swordsmanship talent, wouldn't he be unable to suppress the other party in a few years' time? But how many more years will the other party be? How old is he? It may not even be 10 years old. A great swordsman who is less than 10 years old. Kizaru suddenly felt a little nervous. Obediently. Real or fake, could it be that he wants to teach a 10-year-old great swordsman from his own hands? This is the rhythm of wanting to be famous in history. This moment, Kizaru suddenly became more energetic. He looked at Layfon in front of him, his eyes were full of admiration and satisfaction. Good. This kid is really good. Although I only taught the other party for 3 days, no matter how I say it, I should also belong to this little devil's half-master. In the future, this kid will really become a great swordsman, so we can brag about it, right? 10-year-old great swordsman. That's what we taught. After thinking a lot, Kizaru suddenly became incomparably looking forward to it. While thinking about it, Kizaru looked extraordinarily relaxed while coping with Layfon's attack. Even if he didn't use Devil Fruit, he still seemed extraordinarily relaxed, basically no pressure. This made Layfon deeply understand. How far is his current strength from the Admiral of Headquarters? The gap is too big. But, during the battle with Kizaru Admiral, I also felt the inadequacy of my own sword skills. Have to admit, advertisement. Kizaru is still good at teaching swordsmanship. Although he didn't directly point out the deficiencies of Layfon's swordsmanship, he was able to use swordsmanship every time to make Layfon himself aware of these problems and defects. Asking for flowers. That's it. Time flies by. 1 day of training was spent in the sword fight with Kizaru. That evening, Layfon dragged his heavy body back to the residence. With the support of Khalifa, after eating and drinking, he went directly back to the room, lay down and fell asleep. It's so comfortable to have a housekeeper and nanny to take care of. This moment, Layfon can only understand. Khalifa is so convenient as a babysitter. Before falling asleep, Layfon's mind is still recalling the scene where Huang Yuan fought today. Then, with a lot of sense of picture, I fell asleep. The next day, a ray of golden halo from the edge of the sky spilled over the window sill. The meaning of warmth is filled in the air of the house. Layfon opened his eyes, and he could feel the soreness in his body immediately, and his face showed a bit of helplessness and emotion. The body is still too fragile. It looks like I have to add some proper exercise. Otherwise, no matter how powerful the sword technique is, if the enemy catches the weak point and hits it, wouldn't his fragile body be instantly killed on the spot? It seems that I have to hone my body well. The ability to fight against blows needs to be improved. Otherwise, the weakness of the body is my biggest shortcoming. No matter how powerful the sword technique is, there will always be a moment when there is a loophole. Once I am hit by the enemy, with my current resistance ability, I am afraid that I will be killed on the spot. No matter how bad it is, I may also be seriously injured. Once I am seriously injured, how much of my state and strength can I retain? Maybe not even 10%. No matter how good my swordsmanship is, I can't use it. Layfon thought of his weakest weakness right now. B. In battle, let the body be fully covered with armed armor, so as to ensure the defense of the body, and will not be severely injured by the enemy's one-shot kill. But if the armed color completely covers the body, it will dilute the strength and concentration of the armed color, which is much weaker than gathering all the armed colors on the blade. Just like a water pipe, if there is only one outlet, then the water will be quite powerful. But when there are too many outlets of the water pipe, the water flow of the water pipe will be diluted. Thus, the strength of the armed color will naturally be weakened. If you want to fully fill your own shortcomings, the most important key is to solve the problem fundamentally. Constitution. It's another happy time to become stronger. In the battlefield, he exhaled heavily, suppressing many thoughts in his mind. System. Start daily check-in. That's game over. Improve your physique. Call. Other shortcomings are not too serious. Do not know. And Layfon, as long as the opponent hits once. Only lack of physical fitness will become Layfon's biggest shortcoming in battle, and it is also the most fatal shortcoming. Layfon took a deep breath, thinking of the king silently. Otherwise, even if Layfon hits the opponent 10,000 times, he will be held by the opponent. Layfon remembered something worth looking forward to, his eyes flickered, and a smile appeared on his face. It's time for daily sign-in again. Next, what ability can I get by signing in this time? Physical weakness, this can be said to be the most obvious shortcoming of Layfon now. The endurance of the body is also very important, and its function is very important. Advertisement Chapter 168. What did you experience last night? Kizaru is dumbfounded. Open black lens bracket 4/6 for customization. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Under Layfon's expectant gaze, the voice of the system quickly sounded in his mind. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. The cumulative time of the detection system has reached 24 hours. Open black lens bracket. You can sign in. Please host to confirm again. Do you want to sign in? Close black lens bracket. Confirm check-in. No hesitation, no thinking required. Everything, as far as Layfon is concerned, is already familiar with the road, and what is familiar can hardly be more familiar. Open black lens bracket. Sign in successfully. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you got the ability gift package for sign in reward. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to open the ability gift pack? Close black lens bracket. Still the same operation, not the slightest difference from what Layfon used to do. Exactly the same. Faced with this familiar process, Layfon immediately said again, open. Ability gift pack is opening. Open black lens bracket enabled. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, get strength plus 20, speed plus 20, stamina plus 20 from the ability gift bag. Close black lens bracket. With the sound of the system just fell, Layfon froze for a moment. Immediately, the meaning of ecstasy, sweeping the heart. Layfon's eyes sparkled brightly, and the melodious and crisp voice of the system still lingered in his ears, which did not dissipate for a long time, which made him very excited. The system does not deceive me. This time, the ability to sign in rewards is still as generous as ever. Comprehensive attribute plus 20 inches 580. This is fundamentally improving my strength. Whether it's swordsmanship, weaponry, or knowledge, they have all improved my strength from the side. But what directly improves my strength, speed, and physical strength is to directly endow my body with an essential strengthening. Layfon distinguishes the two in great detail. The armed color must always be used in order to improve one's own combat power. But the strength, speed and other improvements given by the system are to increase the fundamental strength of the body. It is equivalent to, one is active and the other is passive. The armed color needs to be triggered actively. The latter, the improvement of strength and speed, is passive and does not need to be triggered, which will permanently improve Layfon's overall strength level. That's the biggest difference between the two. Essentially the core. It can still greatly improve the strength of Layfon. Just when Layfon's thoughts were surging, a warm current appeared out of nowhere, quickly flowing through his body, filling his blood, bones, and meridians, washing his internal organs. The body is washed and transformed by this warm current. The taste of becoming stronger made Layfon deeply intoxicated. He closed his eyes slightly, carefully feeling the feeling of his body becoming stronger. This transformation probably lasted less than 30 seconds. The warmth subsides, and Layfon also opened his eyes again. Clenching his fists tightly, feeling the explosive power in his fists, made Layfon feel extra anticipation and excitement. Become stronger. The body is fundamentally stronger. This transformation has carried out a large-scale transformation on all aspects of my body. My strength, almost doubled several times, may not be right. Layfon had an illusion. His fists seemed to be able to destroy the world at any time. Of course, this is just an illusion. Due to his own strength, he suddenly got the illusion after skyrocketing. Destroy. Can't catch fire. With Layfon's current level of strength, there is still a long way to go from Vice Admiral, so how can we destroy the world? Ever since, this illusion disappeared in Layfon's mind in a short while. Strength, speed, stamina. 3 aspects have been improved in an all-round way. Advertisement. My overall strength has at least tripled. Do not. Even more. Layfon's eyes sparkled brightly. This feeling of becoming stronger several times in an instant is really intoxicating. Bring up the properties panel. After calming down a bit, Layfon remembered to check his current property panel. Open black lens bracket host. Layfon close black lens bracket. Strength. 70 plus 20. Open black lens bracket. 71 plus 20 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical strength. 69 plus 20 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skills. Swordsmanship LV12, Conqueror's Haki IV4, Armament Hakilv 1, Observation Hakilv 1, Marine 6 Styles 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skill point. 0 close black lens bracket. One time, the calendar area has increased by nearly half of the value. But the increase in strength brought to me is a double leap. Layfon looked away. A good mood for the day begins with signing in. Layfon, whose strength has been increased several times, feels extraordinarily happy. Today is another day to write about Kizaru Admiral's sword-cutting skills. On such a day, it is indeed very fulfilling to be full, but it is extremely exhausting. Feeling the pain in his body, Layfon couldn't help shaking his head. In fact, Layfon's swordsmanship can also improve by leaps and bounds without needing to cut pokes with Kizaru. Layfon, who has a system, only needs to maintain a good habit of signing in every day, so that his own strength and swordsmanship can be significantly improved. But, after all, there is still a lack of actual combat. Just relying on the abilities obtained by signing in, although all of them are like practicing for several years, Layfon can directly master them. However, these abilities require Layfon to slowly adjust and integrate them into one body, so that they can be used in coordination with each other. This is what Layfon had to go through. One-sided armament haki can be skillfully used, but it is still too monotonous in actual combat. What Layfon needs to hone are all abilities, such as knowledge, weaponry, swordsmanship, and Marine 6 styles, all of which cooperate with each other and explode in actual combat. And these experiences are not what the system can give. What the system simply bestows is the proficient control of a single ability, that's all. How to use it together. This also depends on Layfon's own training. The opportunity to cut poke with Admiral is rare. How can I miss it? After yesterday's cut with Kizaru Admiral, my overall combat thinking has improved a lot. Also, it will take a little time before we can truly integrate all abilities such as armed color, knowledge color, and Marine 6 styles into one, so that we can carry out actual combat in line with nature. Layfon stretched his arms and walked out the door. The body was a little sore, but after about a few minutes, after a little movement of the body bones, the degree of these soreness was weakened a lot. Just walked out the door. Oncoming, Khalifa has already prepared breakfast. As a housekeeper and nanny, Khalifa is undoubtedly very competent and conscientious. This made Layfon suddenly emotional. Old man. Still have foresight. No, with the existence of Khalifa, I can save a lot of time in dealing with tedious things. You can concentrate and devote all your time wholeheartedly to the cut poke with Kizaru. After an early breakfast, we bid farewell to Khalifa. Layfon went all the way, and arrived at number 9 fencing dojo where we met yesterday. Early in the morning, Kizaru has been waiting here for a long time. Kizaru, who has always been lazy, came earlier than Layfon. As soon as Layfon arrived, Kizaru could be seen yawning, as if he hadn't woken up yet. Combined with his wretched and lazy face, he can't see any admiral airs at all, but looks like an ordinary marine, without giving people a strong sense of oppression. Aokiji and Kizaru, to some extent, have a high degree of similarity in personality. Both are lazy, like a salted fish. The difference is that Kizaru's laziness is deep in his bones. And Aokiji can still see a serious attitude at the right time. But Kizaru, no matter what he does, he always looks like this. Laziness has gone deep into the bones. To this, even Sengoku is very nerve-wracking and helpless. 3 days of fishing and 2 days of drying nets. Advertisement. To describe it, it is Kizaru. Any task, in the hands of Kizaru, has a relatively high failure rate. Why? Because lazy. Kizaru is so lazy. It's not that he lacks ability, it's just that he is too lazy to do many things, that's all. Coming. Kizaru looked at Layfon and scratched his ear. Kizaru Admiral, please enlighten me. Layfon took out the katana from his waist. The black armed armor quickly extended to the blade. Early in the morning, as soon as we met, it was another duel training. For a while, the originally relaxed atmosphere suddenly turned into a sense of oppression. Fierce, dense, the oppressive breath makes the heart almost want to stop beating. Start. This time, Layfon took the initiative to attack. Whoosh. His figure, that disappeared in place, shaved by Marine 6 styles, gives Layfon a teleportation effect. Instantly, Layfon was already standing behind Kizaru's head, and the samurai sword covered with colored armor aimed at Kizaru's back, slashing mercilessly. Kizaru's originally lazy face became a little suspicious. Aware of the approaching samurai sword behind his head, his expression was somewhat serious and dignified. Illusion. Always feel. This brat, after yesterday's training, seems to have greatly improved his strength. This is not realistic, is it? Before this kid left yesterday, his strength hadn't improved so much. Why one night passed? This brat seems to be reborn in 3.6. This doesn't make sense. Unscientific. Boom. Pulling out the Amakongan sword in his hand, Kizaru turned around and blocked the knife from Layfon. The great force, spread from Layfon's hand to the blade of the armor-colored armor, was transferred to the lightsaber, and from the lightsaber to Kizaru's right arm. This moment, Kizaru's expression became more and more frightened. This power, not quite right. Compared to yesterday, it must be too much stronger. What is this for? What is the situation? Why does this kid's strength seem to have doubled several times? Can anyone explain? What is happening? Kizaru looked at Layfon in shock, and couldn't help asking. What the hell? What did you experience last night? It's only been one night. Kizaru was dumbfounded on the spot. Do not. Now things are developing, completely beyond Kizaru's expectation. Just one night. Strictly speaking, this kid's strength has ushered in a double improvement. It was only a day before and after. This brat, even his strength seems to have been multiplied several times, and it may be more than that. Wrong. Not just speed. Advertisement chapter 169. People's physiques can't be generalized. Open black lens bracket 5/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. There is no reason. Just one night has passed. This brat has become so strong for no reason. This unscientific. Serious violation of scientific common sense. Who can explain to himself, after one night, the strength and speed of this brat have increased several times in an all-round way. Not a little bit, but several times. This is incredible. If only a little bit of improvement, Kizaru would not be so shocking. But the problem is, this brat's strength has not been improved by a single star. Almost doubling the span. Who can stand this? Only one night has passed. Can anyone tell me what happened to this kid? What exactly has he experienced to make his own strength increase so terrifyingly? To be frank, if you can, I would love to try this experience too. In one night, double your own strength. Who is not so hot-eyed? Kizaru looked at Layfon in front of him with eager eyes, and while his face was full of shock, he couldn't help but eager to know. What did this kid go through last night? Why does Mao's strength change so much? Can't figure it out. Kizaru's thinking in his head became chaotic, and his whole forehead seemed to be buzzing, which made him temporarily lose the ability to think normally. I want to experience it too. Kizaru's eyes were a little red. Although we are usually lazy. But if we can become stronger quickly, we naturally want to experience a wave. After all, in one night, one's own strength can be doubled. Who wouldn't want to experience this? If you can become stronger in a short period of time, who would foolishly spend years doing those hard training? Effort. Try to have a fart. Seeing Layfon in front of me, especially feeling the strength of Layfon in one night, it may be several times stronger than yesterday. This immediately made Kizaru complain in his heart. If hard work pays off, so what do geniuses need to do? But the problem is, what happened to this brat can't be explained with just a genius. What kind of genius can use just one night to double his own strength? No matter how talented a person is, it is impossible to do it. This is what Kizaru had in mind. But any explanation for this horrific phenomenon in front of Layfon? Kizaru's thinking was rigid, and he couldn't think of a reason even after racking his brains. He still believed in it yesterday. For a swordsman, hard work is more important than talent. But today, he was instantly slapped in the face. Effort is more important than talent. So who can explain what happened to Layfon? With one night's hard work, it is possible to increase one's own strength by several times. What is this for? Is this really possible with hard work? What a joke. If you can do it with hard work, isn't everyone in the sea a powerful monster? In the final analysis, it still depends on two words. Talent. Little ghost, what have you been through? Kizaru withdrew the Amakongan sword in his hand, stared at Layfon with horror, and asked again. The short fight had already made him feel it very clearly. Layfon's strength is nearly 4 times stronger than yesterday. Whether it's strength or speed. As for other aspects, Kizaru can't know the conclusion yet. But the strength and speed alone have increased by nearly 4 times in one night, which is still enough to subvert Kizaru's cognition and make his worldview almost collapse. So horrifyingly mundane. Rao is Kizaru, who is Admiral of Headquarters, and has never seen a similar example before. Looking at the sea for hundreds of years, there has never been such an example. Advertisement. On this point, Kizaru can be 100% sure. Last night. What else could I have experienced last night? Layfon looked at Kizaru suspiciously. Kizaru Admiral, your words are really easy to misunderstand. Although, there is indeed a beautiful female agent living in our family, and she has a tall and graceful figure, a dignified and elegant personality, and infinite charm. But don't forget, but we are only 7 years old this year. What did you experience at night? What else can we do tonight? It's really easy to misunderstand what you say. Perhaps aware of the strangeness in Layfon's eyes, Kizaru roared angrily. I'm asking you, how did your strength change so much in one night? So that's how it is. Layfon suddenly realized. Fine. Feelings are what I want to be biased. Sorry for thinking. Kizaru Admiral is asking, what will he experience with Khalifa at night? 7 years old, what can we do with Khalifa? Something wrong. Not quite right. Is what I think a bit crooked. Crooked. Layfon quickly corrected his thoughts. 7-year-old self, what do you do? Even if we really want to do something, we have to wait at least 10 years, right? At this time, facing Kizaru's shocked and solemn question, Layfon replied, I didn't do anything, the main thing was a day of training, I went back to sleep exhausted. When I woke up, then, I found that my strength, speed and other aspects have improved a little. Even I am a little puzzled. In the end, I only recognize West. Perhaps this is due to my own unique constitution. After all, Kizaru Admiral, you know that the physique of a person cannot be generalized. As far as I am concerned, I once learned conquerors in a night of extreme anger. And, first once understood Marine's 6 styles in half a day in a very calm situation. Layfon's answer just fell. Kizaru became more and more confused. Although Layfon's answer was gaudy, Kizaru understood it quickly. To sum it up in one sentence. I am talented, I am awesome. You just say it directly, wouldn't it be good if you have a strong talent? All these bells and whistles. I'm afraid that others will not know that you are talented, right? Kizaru couldn't help but want to complain. When you wake up, you become stronger for no reason. Physically special, why does Mao sound so awkward? Also, your strength is clearly doubled. You call that a little boost. Is there any reason? It's so weird that the strength has doubled. Do not know why. Kizaru suddenly wanted to cry. Why can't Mao's own lazy character possess this special physique? We also want to wake up and double our strength. Not to mention. I actually believed what this brat said. Crazy crazy. I must be very sick. Kizaru was very weird and didn't take the initiative to doubt what Layfon said. Instead, he subconsciously believed it. After all, the changes in Layfon's strength are indeed presented in front of him. No matter what the reasons are, the doubling of Layfon's strength is definitely not false, but it is happening in front of your eyes. Kizaru could doubt the reasons Layfon said, but he couldn't doubt the change in Layfon's strength. He himself has a deep understanding of this point, so how can he doubt it? Advertisement. He fought against Layfon himself, and personally experienced that Layfon's strength has become several times stronger. How can this be fake? Could it be? Was he himself a factor of deceit? So the last reason is. This kid goes back at night and doesn't do anything, and when he wakes up, his strength has almost quadrupled for no apparent reason, maybe more than that. Kizaru's eyes widened, and he was shocked. He doubted life on the spot. Is there such a good thing? God is so unfair. I want something like this too. Why can't such a good thing be thrown at me? I don't agree. This little brat, why did all good things happen to him? I think I am dignified Admiral of Headquarters, why didn't I come across such a serious problem? Suddenly become stronger. We have never felt this kind of taste in our life for so many years. This kid, why does it feel like he can experience this feeling all the time? One day I learned the color of knowledge, and another day I learned conquerors. Why is Mao so horrified that worldly things can happen to this little devil? All good things happen to him. What is the reason? Is there any law left? God is not fair. Good citizens like us don't have this kind of unique treatment. But what did this kid do? All good things fell on him. How unfair. Kizaru Admiral, are you okay? Layfon looked at Kizaru, whose expression was changing wildly in 637, and couldn't help but speak. What the hell? You didn't say anything amazing yourself, did you? Why did it seem like Kizaru's mentality was about to collapse? Looking at Kizaru's almost distorted facial features, Layfon suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart. I didn't say anything. How come Kizaru Admiral is going to have a mental breakdown? This mental quality is really not good. That's it, Admiral of Headquarters. This psychological quality is not as good as that of a 7-year-old like me, and Marine Admiral. This Admiral looks a little watery. Good. After Kizaru reacted, his expression still couldn't hide the shock, his eyes looked at Layfon full of weird emotions. For a while, Kizaru looked at Layfon's eyes with envy, jealousy, hatred and many other emotions, which could not be concealed on his face. His mood then became extraordinarily complicated. This moment, Kizaru couldn't help but recall the remarks he had just taught Layfon yesterday. As a swordsman, hard work is more important than talent. Only hard work can make people go further. Kizaru remembered these words, which was taught to him by an elder a long time ago. Can now. Kizaru just wants to say to this elder. Who is this horse talking bullshit to Lousy? Lousy tore his face off on the spot. Which is more important, hard work or talent? This moment. For this question, Kizaru has been able to draw the most accurate conclusions. Well, of course talent is more important. Trying to have a hammer. If hard work is useful, what do you need genius for? For others, their strength has increased 4 or 5 times in one night. If you let a hardworking person work hard for a month, can he compare with others? Of course not. Not even fit to carry someone else's shoes. When a genius sleeps casually, his strength doubles. A mediocre person who has practiced for a year may not be able to improve his strength. Under strong contrast, the worldview that Kizaru has been adhering to all these years was completely subverted on the spot by such incredible things that happened to Layfon. Advertisement Chapter 170 Kizaru's worldview has been shaken like never before. Open black lens bracket 6/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. You let me calm down. Kizaru's mood was never completely calm. What happened in front of my eyes was too unbelievable. The worldview he has built up over the years has been shaken unprecedentedly because of what happened to Layfon, and it is gradually showing signs of collapse. When he woke up, his strength suddenly increased by 4 or 5 times. Why don't you go to heaven? At first, Kizaru wanted to refute Layfon forcefully on the spot, but he had no choice but to sense the change in Layfon's strength, and he had no reason to doubt it at all. If he hadn't personally measured the progress of Layfon's strength, Kizaru would certainly not have believed that such a terrifying event that could subvert cognition is happening right now. There has never been a similar example that made Kizaru express such unacceptable. Look out to sea. Whenever there is such an example, there can only be one reason to explain it. You ate devil fruit. Kizaru looked up and stared at Layfon with a strange expression on his face. Only this reason can better explain the terrible strength change that happened to Layfon. If it weren't for eating devil fruit, how could the strength of ordinary people have such an obvious improvement overnight? Or the kind that has doubled. Devil fruit. I don't need it. Layfon smiled and shook his head. From the very beginning, he had no intention of swallowing devil fruit at all. Compared with devil fruit, he believes in his abduction system. If you have a system, what do you want devil fruit to do? This is too embarrassing. Not to mention, with the speed at which one's strength improves, devil fruit will only disperse one's energy after all, not only will not make one's own strength stronger, but will become a huge burden instead. Nature. If under such circumstances, Layfon still insists on swallowing devil fruit, then he is really out of his mind. So, you didn't eat devil fruit. But your strength has changed too much in one night. Kizaru still couldn't help expressing his deep puzzlement. Kizaru Admiral, do you really want to hear the truth? Layfon smiled. Nonsense. Kizaru rolled his eyes, feeling a little anticipation in his heart. Then I can only give you 2 words as an explanation. What? Talent. Faced with this explanation from Layfon, Kizaru was momentarily speechless. Fine. You are uncle. You are talented, you are awesome. About a few minutes passed. Only then did Kizaru calm down a little bit. Although he was still deeply shocked by Layfon's improvement in strength overnight, he was not as glum as he was at the beginning. All right. Today's training. Continue. Kizaru held the Amazono cloud sword, looked straight at Layfon, and looked a little curious. Let me weigh in. How much room for improvement in your strength in one night? Kizaru Admiral will definitely not let you down. The battle is about to start. No sign. Boom. The samurai sword covered with black armed armor collided with a golden lightsaber, flashing a dazzling halo and blazing. Hum. The majestic airflow quickly spread in all directions with the collision of the 2 people as the center point. The airflow swept the dust and dust above the wooden boards under their feet, and all the dust in the hundreds of meters around the 2 of them was blown farther away. Shave. Layfon's figure disappeared. Moment. He appeared on the back of Kizaru's head, slamming down the katana sword in his hand. The sharp blade cut through the sky. Advertisement. The ear-piercing sound of piercing the air lingered in Kizaru's ears. As if he had eyes in the back of his head, Kizaru turned his head to the side and avoided the knife very skillfully. The Amakongan sword in his hand seemed to have a sense of wisdom, and he stabbed directly back. Boom. Layfon's eyelids jumped, and he held a samurai sword to block in front of him. Boom. The terrifying distance, passing the arms from the blade, made the hands numb from the shock. Huge force swept across Layfon's body, sending him flying dozens of meters away, and his feet rubbed against the board and pulled him several meters away. What a terrifying talent. Kizaru looked at Layfon in amazement. Although he didn't use the devil fruit, it was very rare for him to feel a little bit of strenuous effort. Even if only a little bit. But this was enough to surprise Kizaru. Layfon, only 7 years old. It can actually make me feel a little bit strenuous. I have to say, this is really a terrifying monster. Give the opponent a few more years, Kizaru doesn't even think that he can still suppress the opponent as he is today. In particular, Kizaru felt a little guilty when he thought of the horror that Layfon doubled his strength when he woke up. Speed boosts like this terrifying monster like power. It doesn't take a few years. Are you afraid that you won't be able to suppress the other party? Although I didn't use the devil fruit, my strength is not just that of an ordinary vice admiral. But this little devil can still cause me a lot of trouble. This is really surprising. With this kid's unbelievable strength improvement speed, it won't take a few years for him to surpass me. This moment, only Kizaru can understand it deeply. Talent, what exactly does it mean, and how important it is? It's so important. Super talented, really doesn't need hard work. This is not. Looking at Layfon in front of him, Kizaru has a deep understanding. Yuan is really envious of Layfon's talent. When I wake up, my strength has doubled several times. This kind of experience, he was longing for in his dreams. Kizaru Admiral, fight me, if you still dare to continue half-heartedly. To be honest, you might really lose next. Layfon laughed. A loud laugh disturbed Kizaru's thoughts, and when he came back to his senses, he saw Layfon who was close at hand, and quickly counterattacked with the Amakongan sword. If you can do it. My admiral's throne, why not give it to you? Little devil, I'm going to be serious. Kizaru's tone was playful. That's it. In the fierce actual combat, Layfon has become more and more proficient in the fusion and use of abilities such as knowledge color, armed color, marine 6 styles, and swordsmanship, and his fighting thinking has become more and more terrifying. What the system gives Layfon is only the proficient use of abilities such as armed color and knowledge color, and cannot make these abilities cooperate with each other and be used in actual combat. Therefore, if he wants to use all his abilities to the fullest in actual combat, Layfon must go through countless actual combats, and after being honed in actual combat, he can self-control the complementarity of these abilities. In the actual battle with Kizaru, Layfon was frantically absorbing experience. Let all the abilities under your control cooperate with each other to exert a stronger overall strength level. So, almost at a speed visible to the naked eye, Layfon's actual combat ability is rising steadily. As Kizaru who fought Layfon, it is natural to understand this best. To this, Kizaru was crying in his heart not once or twice. Monster. This is a complete monster. Do not. More like, a monster in human skin. Where is the strength of human beings that can improve so quickly? Just like a sponge, absorbing seawater crazily, it is like a bottomless pit with no limit at all. The strength is improving almost every moment. The battle with Layfon finally gave Kizaru a deep understanding. Advertisement. Layfon, what a terrifying monster this is. Subvert Kizaru's previous perception of all geniuses. All geniuses combined cannot bring Kizaru such a terrifying concept of talent beyond imagination. But from Layfon, Kizaru saw it very accurately. Layfon's talent is amazing. The essential. This little devil is only 7 years old. This is the main reason that makes Kizaru feel crazy. How can anyone be so powerful at the age of 7 years old? This must be too outrageous. Layfon undoubtedly refreshed Kizaru's perception. Moreover, Kizaru's world view has suffered wave after wave of shaking and painful blows. Soon, one day passed like this. During the battle with Kizaru, time flies by. Both of them seem to be unaware of the passage of time. Layfon is wholeheartedly silent in the actual combat, frantically absorbing experience and strengthening his overall strength. And when they reacted, it was already approaching evening. Night fell, all things sleep. Then, Layfon took the initiative to bid farewell to Kizaru, and dragged his heavy body back to the residence. But I have to say that compared to yesterday's heavy body, today's state is much better. Layfon speculates. This may be related to the improvement of one's own strength, speed, and physical strength. The improvement of physical strength endows the body with stronger battery life, so naturally, many negative states such as fatigue will not appear so quickly. Except for this possibility, it could also be. My body has gradually adapted to this intensity of training in actual combat. After adapting to this kind of singing intensity training, naturally the body will gradually get used to it thoroughly. As the saying goes, habit is second nature. The human body is very adaptable. Kizaru, who watched Layfon leave, left number 9 fencing dojo after a long night. There is no other reason. Kizaru, too, was a little tired. The battle with Layfon made Kizaru gradually start to take a bit of seriousness, joutes, in the later stage, and he dared not be as lax and careless as he was in the beginning. This change made Kizaru himself aware of it. He could only feel helpless. 20. Always be different. In the dark sky, a curved crescent hangs on the edge of the sky, exuding a hazy white halo, illuminating the entire Marineford. The night in Marineford is extraordinarily peaceful. Quiet. It's like, I really didn't pay attention to the trend of things anymore. Even some veteran vice admirals are looking forward to this. As young as 7 years old, take on half of Marineford's grand challenge. Everyone is quietly waiting and looking forward to it. From that challenge, there is only. The turmoil in Marineford has not subsided, but intensified. 2 days. It was called by everyone in Marineford. These days seemed to be quiet. But just when Layfon was training against Kizaru. But fortunately, the development of the matter did not involve Aokiji, which saved Aokiji from a catastrophe and did not have to endure this wave of unwarranted disasters. As for Aokiji, no sound. Everyone in Marineford knows this clearly. This lively event naturally attracted their attention. Marineford, it hasn't been this lively for a long, long time. The challenge in 2 days. Hundreds of thousands of official Marines are looking forward to the challenge that Garp is brewing. Advertisement Chapter 171. The day that everyone is looking forward to is finally here. Open black lens bracket 1/6 for customization. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Marineford at night is very quiet and comfortable. It is completely different from the hustle and bustle of the day. Apart from the chirping of cicadas, the night brings more tranquility to Marineford. There is also a cool breeze blowing on the branches and leaves, and the pleasant sound rustles. However, the marshal's office was still brightly lit. The halo spilled over the window sill. A busy figure is sitting on the seat, and there are many documents on the table, constantly flipping through and reviewing, stamping, approving and so on. Sengoku is still busy with his work. He does not enter his rest time early at night like an ordinary marine, but is still rushing to these documents at hand. Kindness. Suddenly, Sengoku frowned, staring at the document in his hand. There is not much content on the top of the file, only a very simple and monotonous portrait of a character. This is a young man with a hooked nose, eye patches, and a hat similar to a swordsman, with a huge X black mark on his chest and chin. Below the portrait, a lot of information about this person is marked. Fallen Marine Rear Admiral, Drake. Seeing Drake's reward list, Sengoku was in a trance. His eyes showed a somewhat complicated expression, without any hostility or anger. It stands to reason. Sengoku shouldn't have shown such complicated emotions when dealing with a traitor who defected from Marine and joined the pirate lineup. Sengoku's eyes. Not only is there no anger, but it is full of complex and unspeakable emotions. Have remorse. Have concerns. Many emotions gathered in Sengoku's pupils. It can be seen from here. Something is wrong. A long time. Sengoku sighed helplessly. It was planned to re-enter the review process of documents and materials again. Unexpectedly, at this moment. Boom. The door was pushed open very directly and with the most violent means. Sengoku moved his eyes from the reward list in his hand, staring at the comer with an angry face. Garp. The only one who opens the door in this rude way is the card. Even a Kainu dare not be so presumptuous in front of Sengoku. The huge naval headquarters, only Garp dares to do this, and even does it often. 910 inches Sengoku, I guessed correctly, you still haven't left the office at night. Garp walked over with a smile on his face. What happened again? Let you come to me at night. Sengoku looked helpless. He put down the reward list and many materials in his hand, rubbed his temples, and twisted his stiff arms a little to relieve his slightly sore body. Only the arrival of Garp allowed Sengoku to temporarily put down the many things at hand and find a little rest time for himself. There was a pause, before Garp could speak. Sengoku asked with a puzzled face. Speaking of which, what makes me wonder is that you just ignore your grandson's affairs. You were involved and fueled this matter. Now, the matter is intensifying. On the other hand, as the person involved, you are as idle as someone who has nothing to do. I don't know, I thought you had nothing to do with this matter. Seeing Garp's relaxed and laid-back appearance, Sengoku felt a little annoyed. Anyway, you should also pay attention to the things you caused. How much buzz is being made in Marineford now for this so-called challenge? Almost 100,000 people are exactly Marine, who put all their energy into this matter and expressed close attention to this matter. In Sengoku's view, Garp's attention to the trend of things is not as close as that of most Marines in Marineford. This is your grandson. Just don't care about your grandson's affairs. Question for Sengoku. Garp laughed and replied, Sengoku, you worry too much. How do you know I didn't pay attention to the trend of things? Besides, I have always maintained absolute confidence in my grandson Layfon. Half a Marineford. Just keep your eyes wide open and watch how my grandson Layfon, with his own strength, directly overturned half of Marineford. The words fell. Sengoku said in a strange tone. Then I really will wait and see. Anyway, he always felt that this matter was very hanging. His knowledge of Layfon's strengths is limited to Garp's verbal introduction. But according to Garp's verbal introduction, Layfon's strength is obviously only from the Marine Commodore's class, and has not entered the ranks of Rear Admiral at all. In this way, will there still be suspense in the outcome? The challenges Garp mentioned are not limited to Rear Admiral. Speak the truth. If this kid Layfon overturns half of Marineford and defeats all the challengers, then I think he should have a higher official title. What do you think of Sengoku? Garp directly stated what he had witnessed during the trip. Advertisement. How do you want to arrange it? Sengoku's eyelids twitched. Really, the visitor is not good. Garp, this guy, has always been in the Three Treasures Hall for nothing. This is just great. Come to ask for an official title for my grandson again. However, if it is true as Garp said, Sengoku really has no reason to refuse Layfon's promotion. Arrange a few tasks for him, and it will be logical for him to promote his official status. In this way, it will not cause too many gossips. Garp thought for a moment, then made a suggestion. Sengoku pondered for a moment, then nodded. Of course, the prerequisite for everything is that he can be qualified for the challenge that will still be promoted for 2 days. If he can't stand out from the challenge of half of Marineford, all the things you just said, of course, don't need to be mentioned again. Heard the words. Garp's eyes twinkled, his face was full of confidence, and his smile became brighter and brighter. I said it before. The old man's grandson Layfon. He is a peerless genius. Nothing to say all night. The next day, the golden sun rises slowly, hangs on the edge of the sky, amidst bursts of dazzling halos, moistens everything, volatilizes the morning moisture and cold mist, and fills the air with warmth. When a ray of sunshine falls on the window sill, Layfon started the daily check-in session day after day. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. The cumulative time of the detection system has reached 24 hours. Open black lens bracket. You can sign in, please host to confirm again. Do you want to sign in? Close black lens bracket. Sign in. Layfon looked intent. Open black lens bracket. Sign in successfully. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, you got the ability gift bag for signing in rewards. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to open the ability gift pack? Close black lens bracket. Open. Open black lens bracket. Ability gift pack is opening. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket enabled. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host, get armament haki plus LV5 and observation haki plus V5 from the ability gift pack. Close black lens bracket. 2-color haki, all boosted by 5. This ability gift pack has benefited Layfon a lot. At the same time, before Layfon could react, a warm current filled his heart. Wash down Layfon's body and give him a total makeover. At the same time, a memory in my mind, like a surging tide, rushed to my head and took root deeply for a long time. Moment. When Layfon opened his eyes, feeling the changes in his own body and the large amount of memory in his mind out of thin air, a smile appeared on his face. A good mood for the day. Start with daily check-ins. It's getting stronger again. Layfon was deeply intoxicated by the taste of his body becoming stronger. Then, he had a thought. Call out the body attribute panel. Open black lens bracket host. Layfon close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power. 70 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket speed. 71 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical strength. 69 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skills. Swordsmanship LV12, Armament Hakil 6 plus LV5, Observation Hakil 6 plus LV5, Conqueror's Haki IV4, Marine 6 Styles 1v1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skill point. 0 close black lens bracket. The improvement of the 2-color haki has given me a small leap in strength. As for how much it has improved, we have to learn from actual combat to be able to draw more accurate conclusions. Layfon's eyes twinkled. As for who to look for as a benchmark for strength improvement. In Layfon's heart, naturally he has a goal. Who else but Kizaru Admiral? Then, without staying too long, after eating the breakfast prepared by Khalifa, Layfon was excited, and arrived at number 9 fencing dojo before dawn. The figure of Kizaru has already stood here. Not too many words. It is more than words. Fierce battle officially broke out. Kizaru was shocked again during the fight with Layfon. There is no other reason. Layfon's strength seems to have become a lot stronger again. Advertisement. This made Kizaru's head, which was struck by a severe heavy object, humming. His thinking became chaotic again, and his worldview shattered. What the hell? It's the first night for Mao. What the hell? This brat has become stronger again. This is not scientific. With a lot of confusion in his heart, Kizaru couldn't help asking, "You, what did you experience last night?" "When I woke up, armed color and knowledge color, inexplicably become stronger." As always, he repeated yesterday's rhetoric. Kizaru was dumbfounded. He can't accept it. All kinds of unimaginable things happened in front of my eyes. But it is unacceptable, and it cannot change the fact that Layfon's strength has become stronger. What the hell happened to me? Wrong. Or in other words, what is the talent of this little devil? Could it be? Can sleeping really improve a person's strength so much? Not right. I also sleep like this every day. Why don't I see this little devil appearing on me? The inexplicable strength has ushered in a huge leap, such an extremely unbelievable thing. Blame only. I am not a genius. I don't have such a talent that can be called a monster. Hateful. Really hateful. Kizaru was very puzzled in his heart. That's it. During the whole day of fighting, Kizaru was in a state of extreme shock and bewilderment. The sun was setting. It's evening time again. Kizaru Admiral, I may not be able to come tomorrow. Before leaving, Layfon wiped the sweat from his forehead, turned to Kizaru and told the truth. I know. Kizaru nodded. 3 days of training is almost over. Tomorrow, it must be the time for this kid to single out half of Marineford. Nature. I can no longer come to the Swordsmanship dojo to continue actual combat training with him. Turning around, Layfon was quite ready to leave. Little devil. Kizaru spoke suddenly. Layfon's movements paused, before turning around. Kizaru's words came out again. Don't lose. Very rare. Blessed by Admiral Kizaru. This caused a smile to appear on Layfon's face. Kizaru Admiral, maybe others don't know my strength, but don't you know it? After these few days of actual combat training. To ask. Apart from Layfon itself, who knows the level of Layfon's strength best? This person, of course, is Kizaru. In the actual combat these days, Kizaru has been watching Layfon's terrifying progress. That's why. Kizaru was shocked by the speed of Layfon's strength improvement, and was a little numb. Then, it will definitely shine and be a blockbuster. What kind of monster did you teach? And Kizaru, who watched Layfon leave, stood in the sword dojo with a dull expression, and his figure was messed up in the wind. I step on a horse. The next day, the upcoming challenge that everyone is looking forward to. Kizaru, who has a feeling in his heart, is full of emotion and admiration. Finally, as scheduled, the scorching sun was rising, and the dazzling golden halo pierced through the clouds, and finally fell on the horizon of Marineford. Time flies. Presumably, it will be extraordinarily exciting. Farewell to Layfon of Kizaru, and gradually left with a relatively southern and heavy body. Almost all the hundreds of thousands of official Marines in Marineford are waiting and looking forward to the challenging day. This also symbolizes the 3 days that Garp said were all over. Even I can't wait to witness the development and trend of this challenge with my own eyes. I believe that with the strength that this brat possesses now. Advertisement Chapter 172 In 3 days, the strength has soared. Open black lens bracket 2/6 for customization close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The warm sun shines on the window sill. Layfon stretched his arms and stood by the window, feeling the warm halo nourishing his body, and the warmth slowly flowed in his heart. Looking out of the window, the familiar Marineford building panorama. Layfon's mood was unprecedentedly calm. Even though he is very clear in his heart. Today is the day of the challenge to single out half of Marineford. However, Layfon's face didn't feel nervous or apprehensive at all, instead his eyes showed a strong look of anticipation. If the event of singled out half of Marineford happened 3 days ago, Layfon might still feel a little unconfident and apprehensive. At that time, Layfon was not as strong as this. These 3 days come down. Layfon is not for nothing. On the contrary, his strength can simply be described by the word, advance by leaps and bounds. In 3 days, his strength soared. It's like launching a rocket, the skyrocketing. Compared with 3 days ago, Layfon's strength at this moment is much, much stronger. Double. It should be said that it has more than doubled by more than 10 times. This strength endowed Layfon with boundless self-confidence, and it will definitely not be a problem to cope with this grand challenge of Marineford. I was 3 days ago. It's completely different from who I am now. When I first came to Marineford 3 days ago, I hadn't mastered the knowledge yet. But 3 days later, I have not only awakened the knowledge color, but also the armed color. The level of the 2-color haki has been greatly improved by me. In addition, my strength, speed, physical strength and other aspects of physique have ushered in a huge increase promote. 3 days apart. But the change in my strength can be said to be like 2 different people. Layfon thought to himself. During these 3 days, could it be that people outside thought that they were unprepared? Or in other words, those people outside think that 3 days are so short, and it is almost impossible to change one's strength within 3 days. Such a pity. These people can't even dream of it. What they thought was impossible, let Layfon do it abruptly. In just 3 days, his strength has improved by leaps and bounds, and his strength has skyrocketed. 3 days ago, Layfon did not have the capital to step into the power class of Rear Admiral. But today, the strength of Layfon, looking at Marine Rear Admiral, can definitely be said to be among the best. Although there is still some distance from Vice Admiral, Layfon's strength can definitely be said to be the best among the ranks of Rear Admiral's power class. All this changes only took 3 days. What an incredible thing is this! If people from the outside know that Layfon's strength has improved in the past 3 days, they may not be able to calm down. But in the past 3 days, except for Kizaru, no third person knew about Layfon's terrifying progress. Even Garp rarely came to greet Layfon during these 3 days. It seems that let Layfon handle this challenge by himself, without giving Layfon too much help. It is precisely because of this. Garp is completely unaware of Layfon's strength improvement. Old man, I'm afraid you don't even know how much your grandson's strength has grown in these 3 days. This challenge will definitely not let you down. Your title of Marine Hero will never be insulted from me. Layfon narrowed his eyes slightly. He couldn't wait, and wanted to single out most of Marineford's Marines. This battle, just right, let yourself make your name. Whether it can become famous or not depends on this battle. My strength has already been determined. To cope with challenges, there will be absolutely no accidents and mistakes. The most important thing is advertisement. Today, I haven't signed in yet. After signing in this time, my strength will definitely improve again. In this way, I can better control the trend and development of this challenge. Layfon smiled. Yes, today, he hasn't signed in yet. After signing in, he can predict that his own strength will usher in another leap forward. Before signing in, Layfon believed with full confidence that he was sure of winning this challenge. There was another chance to sign in today, but he didn't use it. System, start signing in. With a thought, Layfon looked full of anticipation. It's the fastest time of the day again. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. The cumulative time of the detection system has reached 24 hours. Open black lens bracket. You can sign in. Please host to confirm again. Do you want to sign in? Close black lens bracket. Confirm check-in. Open black lens bracket. Sign in successfully. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to host. The ability to get sign in rewards has. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to open the ability gift pack? Close black lens bracket. Open. Ability gift pack is opening. Open black lens bracket enabled. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations to host. You got Swordsmanship plus LV 5 feet from the ability gift pack. Close black lens bracket. As soon as the system's voice fell, it lingered in Layfon's mind, making him feel extraordinarily excited. Fencing. This is another big surprise. With the improvement of swordsmanship, one's own strength will naturally increase steadily. At present, Layfon has mastered the two-color haki to a certain extent. If he improves his sword skills, Layfon's strength will naturally usher in a double leap. Another day full of hope. With a sigh of emotion, Layfon quietly waited for the baptism of the system. Then, as always, a warm current washes over Layfon's internal organs, transforming his body at the same time. In his head, a wave of memories flooded into his mind like a tide. All these changes only lasted for less than half a minute. Half a minute passed. Layfon opened his eyes, feeling the changes in his body. His expression was full of excitement. Got stronger. Visible to the naked eye, it is obvious that one's own strength has become much stronger. In particular, the mastery and comprehension of swordsmanship. The familiar memory in his mind gave Layfon a more proficient control over swordsmanship. And, Layfon's body seemed to have experienced several years of swordsmanship training. The higher understanding of swordsmanship was directly given to the body and penetrated into the bones. Rather than just the amount of memory in my mind. It's not the same as being enlightened. It's more like a swordsman who has practiced for several years, forcibly peeled off the understanding of swordsmanship in his bones, and then integrated it into Layfon's body. This description would be more appropriate. It will directly allow Layfon to have more understanding of swordsmanship, as well as the body's instinctive awareness, reaction and other aspects, which will be comprehensively improved. Lowering his head, Layfon slowly picked up the fine samurai sword placed by the wall. Blade in hand. That unparalleled sense of familiarity. Layfon only felt that the knife in his hand was directly integrated into his body like his third arm, allowing him to use and control it very flexibly. Blade, waving in Layfon's hand. Asking for flowers. The knife light flickers. The fierce and terrifying aura coerced, sweeping all directions. It seems that the whole room is going to be smashed. Advertisement. Withdrawing the blade in his hand, Layfon kept smiling. Really, my own sword skills have improved a lot. It can almost be said that double, do not, even, 10 times the leap. Improved IV5, so that my swordsmanship level has increased by more than 10 times. I am looking forward to this challenge more and more. Layfon's mood became extraordinarily comfortable and joyful. Singled out half a Marineford. If Layfon had been under a little pressure on this before, then at this moment, with the level of swordsmanship improving again by more than 10 times, it may not be more than 10 times. All of this puts no pressure on Layfon. Bring up the properties panel. Layfon immediately checked his current attributes. Open black lens bracket host. Layfon close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power. 70 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket speed. 71 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket physical strength. 69 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket skills. Swordsmanship LV17 plus LV5 armament Hakil 6, observation Hakil 6, conquerors Hakil 4 plus LV3, marine 6 styles IV1 close black lens bracket. 0. Open black lens bracket skill point. 0 close black lens bracket. This is Layfon's current strength and accurate attribute panel. Fencing. It has been upgraded to IV17. A ray of light flashed across Layfon's eyes. Not weak anymore. This level of swordsmanship attainment, even if you look at the sea, can definitely be called a certain level. Weak. This has absolutely nothing to do with being weak. Certainly, it can't be said to be the top, but it definitely doesn't belong to the ranks of the weak. In particular, in the first half of the Grand Line, there were not many powerful swordsmen. Layfon's current level of swordsmanship can definitely be said to be at the upper middle level. Plus Conqueror's Haki and Marine 6 styles. Layfon's current overall strength, placed in the ranks of the strength class of Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral, must belong to the top 1. There is no doubt about this. Even if I set foot in New World now, I don't belong to the weakest grassroots in New World. Layfon is confident, and this is the result of my hard work in the past 3 days. Not right. Effort, it seems, can't talk about it. Over the past 3 days, Layfon has indeed learned a lot from the battle with Kizaru. It can also become more proficient and integrate and use the abilities possessed by the body. But the main reason why Layfon's strength can leap forward. Bottom line, or because of the daily check-in. After 3 days, my strength has increased dozens of times, even hundreds of times. I think, all of this will definitely surprise everyone in Marineford. Suppressing many thoughts in his mind, Layfon opened the door with a samurai sword in hand. 3 days have passed. The challenge is about to begin. Layfon, as a participant in the event, naturally cannot be absent. It's time to go out for a walk. Walk out the door. Layfon saw Khalifa dressed in simplified notation, but she couldn't hide her graceful and tall figure, her delicate and dignified face, exuding a unique temperament, which did not have any sense of disobedience with her current attire. Khalifa, who is a dignified CP9 elite agent, seems to have completely integrated into the current nanny status after a few days. After eating the breakfast carefully prepared by Khalifa, Layfon held the samurai sword, didn't stay here too much, and walked out of the gate very simply, ready to face this battle head-on, with himself as the center point to cause a huge wave of turmoil. Advertisement.